So welcome everybody. We have already been chatting. However, the bunny talk process. Okay. So first of all, let me tell you what we're going to do today, because this bit is 4 hours today in this first bit. I'm going to go over my story, all right? Because I like people to understand my why, my passion, my purpose. And then I am going to go over my version of emotional intelligence. And just before that, we'll check that you've got lots of paper and pens, and we can break it down. As I'm saying it, please feel free to ask all the questions, because it's really important that you understand what we're doing and how you might want to explain that specific bit to a client. And I just want to say that when I do this, the emotional intelligence bit, that is more for my older teenagers, or the parents, or all of my clients. In fact, I do it with all of my clients, this, apart from my little children, which was probably about 12 and under. And we also all know that there are children who are, sometimes they can be 12 going on 16, and then sometimes you can have 16-year-olds going on 8. So it varies. Now, before we even start, I want you both to put your voices on, because we're going to do something. And I'm going to do it first, and then you're going to do it with me, because we're going to get the energy up and we're going to get the excitement up. Okay. So this is what I do with my little people. This is what I say to my parents is a really good idea if they can't get their children motivated in the morning, or to do as they're asked to do. So we play. So this is what I'm going to show you. Okay. My mind is still like water. My body is strong like a mountain. My heart is fierce like a lion. Rah! Okay, so now I'm just going to move my chair away. I have the words written on here. Okay, stand up and let's play. Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
My mind is still like
water.
My body is strong like a mountain. My heart is fierce like a lion. Rah! Okay, brilliant. Okay, now, when I do that, people think I'm crazy. And do you know what? I don't care, because that is absolutely, we've got Azure Gris coming on. She's just missed the I call her my baby Gris. Hi, Azure Gris. I do that because it gets the energy going, and I don't mind being a little bit, if you like, quirky, okay? A little bit odd for my clients, because a lot of the children that we see, a lot of teenagers that we see, a lot of adults that we see often have this thing that they're weird. They are, they're not one of the normal people. Yeah. They come because they don't have any friends. They come because they feel weird. So I'll be weird too. And it means that we're in the club of weirdness together. And that's okay. That can only be a good thing, in my opinion. So what we're going to do, again, if you've got some paper, okay, this is something that I do with my clients. Well, first of all, with my little people, I've already probably spoken to mummy or daddy. And it's often they've said to me, oh, my child has got this issue. Could be bedwetting. It could be they've got they're picky eater. It could be they're angry. Could be they are self-harming. Could be they're hurting themselves. It could be in another way, like picking. It could be they're pulling their hair. It could be they don't have any friends. It could be they just don't know what's wrong with their child, but they know they're so sad. So I often like to say to the adults, can you come in for a session? Well, that's great. However, sometimes they don't necessarily want to. But if they've got my teenager and I say, why can you both come in? Because in the first session, my sessions are long. I do a first 2-hour session. It is me doing a lot of the talking. And do you know what I want to look and see? I want to calibrate what's going on between the child and the parent. I want to see the body language. I want to see who talks over who. I want to see stuff. And you know what? We can, because we're always watching, we're always looking, and we can smell fear. All right. From, say, certain parents and children if they talk them. So I don't mind that. And that's with my teenagers. My little ones, again, the parent can come in, but I won't do all of these diagrams that I'm going to draw with you now. So my little person, I do prefer it if the parent isn't there, but I live in America and the parent will often want to be there. And that is why this is so good, because it's content free. And the child can actually get it out of them without the parent having a clue of what's going on. But I do, okay? Because we all do, because we're kind of a little bit more clued in, okay? Now, this is something that so say if I've got a teenager, just say, or an adult coming to me, and I know, and you know, you've had a little chat with them, you think, they go, oh, you know, my mum did this, my mum was an alcoholic, my dad this, or there was abuse or whatever. You think, okay, we've probably got inner child work here. What I say to all of my clients is, and my teenagers, I'll say, and even my little ones, if I was to ask you this magical question, and again, I'm very theatrical, okay? And the question is, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want to change? What do you want to feel like? What will you answer me if I ask you that? And because I've said it about 3 or 4 different times in different ways, it's given them time to think of something. Now, they will, and so often, and this is quite interesting, a lot of the time they go, well, I don't want what they don't want. And then, however, you will find that children will generally tell you exactly what they do want. It's more the adults that tell you what they don't want. It's very interesting, that. So I want to be happy. I want to sleep. I want to have a dry bed. I want to it's whatever it is. I actually, the other day, this is quite interesting as well, and I did do some drawings on the Facebook, the photographs. This young girl, she had a book, and I asked her this question. She goes, I've got it all written here. And it was like, I mean, so this was only last week, so this is all brand new, and I've never had that before, but she'd already written down what she wanted. And I really praised her, you know, well done, that is brilliant, because I didn't ask you to do that, you've just done that, you've told me everything you wanted. So that is brilliant. And her mum was there, so she obviously liked it that I was praising her child, so that's good. I can't tell you what to do in your session, because every child and every case is different. You know, I'm not going to be there to hold your hand. So it's like, it's just notice what you notice and how to be. Okay. It's you know, sometimes you may be exuberant, sometimes you may be a little bit quieter, because you can just tell they're very quiet people. And if you're too much, it would be too much. Okay. So it's like, just gauge yourself. Now, but also you don't want to be so soft that it's like, oh my God, what's this little wimpy person going to be right with us? It's like, oh, so we want to be kind of you, but either turned up or turned down. Okay. Now, I say, right, so I'm going to draw you some diagrams. And as I'm building these with you, we're going to find out a lot. So this is what I draw first of all. Now I'm going to start drawing this. Now this is the one that's like the model of the hand. It's in the manual. So I'm going to draw like an egg shape and draw it at the top of your paper. Okay. So I say to my client, now this represents your brain. Okay. And I say, now this bit, so I'm going to draw a line across there now. This bit is your conscious mind. Now, this is just a model, everybody. All right, it's just a model. Your conscious mind is the bit that you learn to drive with. Now, if I've got a young teenager, well, they're not driving yet, are they? But I may well have already found out from them, and we're going to do that in a little while, about some of what they like for sports and what they like to do. Okay, so if they tell me they're a hockey player, okay, so this is the bit where when you were first learning to play hockey and how to hold the stick, and you were fully conscious of what you were doing, how your feet were, and moving the puck around. I said, but soon after a little while, it's got so easy, and you just grab the stick and you just do it, because now it's in this bit, which is your unconscious mind. But I'm not going to do this, as I say, with my really little people. That is more for my this is more for my teenagers. If I've got an adult with a conscious mind, I'll say it's the conscious mind. When you were learning to drive, that's the bit that you had to really pay attention with when you're learning to drive. In what age do they learn to drive in Australia, Deborah? It's 15 here. Oh, you're on mute. It's all right.
It depends on the state, but it's sort of 17, 18. It's older here.
Okay, so same as in England, but in America they can drive at 15. So this actually does. You can use this like saying this. So what I'm going to say now. So your conscious mind, that was the bit that you really learned to drive when you're first learning to drive. You probably even look to see what your feet are doing. Okay, because I remember I said, especially if you've got an older person who remembers stick shift, because in England you can only learn with the gears anyway. You have to listen out for the clutch and all those things, and they're going yes, yes, yes. We want our clients to be nodding and agreeing with us as much as possible. Now so I say, so now you might drive with your unconscious mind. Press the button, put the key in, just go. Exactly the same, say if whatever sporting thing they're doing, you know how to hold the stick, you know exactly where to move around in space, because it's in your unconscious mind, which is the biggest part of us, part of our brain, because it's where all our habits, dreams, and memories are stored. Okay, so write that in there. Habits, dreams, and memories goes in that bit, and the unconscious mind. And then I say, now we're all also 100% emotional brain. So everything you have has an emotional attachment. Now I'm looking to see if they've got any tattoos, earrings, necklaces, I don't know, sparkly bangles, whatever they're wearing. Or I say, or you go on vacations and you'll have certain things at home that remind you of your vacation. And then I will also say, and we also all react 100% emotionally. We just do. we can't help it. Have you ever lost something like your phone? Because kids at very young ages have phones now, okay? And you've gone, oh, have you ever lost your, you know, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but have you ever left your credit card in a machine? Oh, that horrible sinking feeling. You know, that all of those things. And we also might just laugh spontaneously. We might cry, we might get angry, we might feel really hurt or disappointed or jealous. All of these things, because we are 100% emotional brain. We just are. Now, and then I say, now this bit, so now I'm drawing an arc over there. This bit is our anxiety box. And this is when you get a lot of people going, oh, mine's bigger than that, you know. And then I go, now this bit here, and I draw a little line across there, and I say this bit is normal anxiety. And a lot of people go, oh, I didn't know I was allowed to have any anxiety. I said, yes, it's normal. It goes back to caveman days. Fight, flight, freeze. A lot of teenagers are learning psychology now at schools, and they go and they love it. So they go, yeah, I know that, fight, flight, freeze. So they've already covered some of these things, which is great. So that is normal anxiety. Okay, fight, flight, freeze. Because if you didn't have that, because I live in the state of North Carolina, I can say, because otherwise, if a copper, you know, you didn't let, you don't go playing with copperheads, do you? Well, Deborah, you could say we don't go playing with crocodiles, and so could you, Barbara. You don't go playing with alligators, and you have crocodiles as well in Florida. So and you've got lots of nasty big things in there, Deborah. you've got the big spiders, and you've got big snakes, and you don't really go around playing with kangaroos either. They might box you. So, and it's like, but you may, and you're saying this, and now because you might be saying a little bit of a joke, they're on board. Okay, they're going, you know. And that's all really important, because that's the rapport. Yeah, it's all about building that rapport. Now, so that is normal anxiety. And then I say, and then do you know what? Some not very nice things happen. We draw another little line here, and then I start filling in little black dots, and I go, and there's rape, there's abuse, there's neglect, there's parents divorcing, there's parents losing their jobs. If you're seeing adults, then you'll say losing your jobs. You know, if you've got, and you know somebody who says had a miscarriage or something, then you'll say that. You know, there's losing pets, there's hurricanes, fires. And this is true. There's you know, lots of fires. You'll have horrendous fires sometimes where you are, Deborah. And in Las Vegas, LA just recently, you know, in Canada again now. So now these black dots, these are our exiles in pain. And that is past pain that is still in pain. And people do know what you mean. Okay. And sometimes with some adults, you will get them start crying there and then. All right. If you do, then because I'm going to, as the this course goes on, you will be able to jump from there to one of the next stages of the eye movements straight away. I do. I leave this and I go, let's clear this. Because when you have emotion, then they are they've been activated into it. And in my opinion, that is gold. and we clear it there and then. And then you have, and then you've cleared it, and they go, oh my gosh. And you go, yeah, great, isn't it? And they go, yeah. And then you carry on. Now you know that they will be rebooking with you. You know, you cleared something. And then they know, they have that massive belief, and then they are like, literally, what else? You know, it's wonderful to see. Okay, however, if they're just going, if they're not saying much, you carry on. And most people, you do just carry on anyway. So I say, now when these ping off each other, and I'm going to draw 2 lines here like this now, from the emotional brain. The emotional brain kicks in. So can you see that? I've drawn from there onto the top there. The emotional brain kicks in, and what it does is it produces these. Which look like udders on a cow. Okay. Now, right now, before I go into this bit, has anybody got any questions? Yeah, Barbara, go.
If you get one of those really strong reactions, you're saying you go right to eye movement ruler. Okay, so no, is there any, you do the drawing, or what do you
No,
do?
not necessarily. No, I mean, I might do if it, but it if it's an adult, you don't need to. You can just go. You've got the feeling, and you can go straight into. You could quickly draw a gingerbread man, but you don't need to get them on the floor and stuff like that. So I mean, Barbara, are you going to be seeing people online, or I mean, or in person, or both?
Both.
Yeah, Barbara, I mean, Deborah, who are you in person?
Yeah, both as again. I've got a clinic and online.
Yeah. So it's so straight away, and I'm gonna teach you both, all right, of how to do it with, and or you could just go straight into it. Like I say, because I've trained in the blast technique and IEMT and all these other things, then I can obviously go straight into it. You will see how you can. I think I had one of our group messaged me the other day, and she goes, oh, I just did so and so somewhere, and it was like, and she there was no drawings involved. So it's so yes, you can, you know, you can go straight into just the eye movements. But when you have an emotion, it's like, yes. Because sadly, I don't know what you think to this, Deborah, being a clinician, but I always also find out if they've on any drugs like Prozac or Wellbutrin or whatever. And if they're not on anything, you will get the feelings more than if they're on something. It can, because when they're on something, they can end up flatlining, in my opinion, and it's harder for them to feel their feelings. And sadly, there's more children, because we're last port of call as a hypnotist. A lot of the time, you might not be, Deborah, but they or your mum as your Gris, because she's a pediatrician, but the children are on so many drugs now in America. It's like, which is why the whole drawing of with the bunny talk, it's you know, the process is longer so they can get it out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, to be honest, Claudia, I think Australia leads America in terms of medication now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've had kids on antipsychotics that are 9-year-olds for anxiety.
Right.
Black box.
I am, that's sad.
It is. It is. But you know, I mean, without taking away from this, there's a whole, if there's psychoeducation you can do with them and give them information, inform them, and then say, you know, decide what you want to do. Because I can't talk against it, because obviously that's not my expertise. But I think if people are educated about what they're actually giving their children, they often do have a different perspective about that later on. Because they just go, and others go, oh, it's just been prescribed, I'm just going to give it, right?
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go, Barbara. What are you going to say?
Will have found out about any possible medications or other treatments prior to starting that particular conversation with a diagram, or somewhere in the middle here?
No, right. If you're speaking to, they'll have filled out a form. I've got a client form that they would have filled out for me, so I'll know.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll and they would have said to me, because as I say, we're last port of call, so it's like they will have, oh, my child has tried this, my child's tried that, and if they're on so much, I said, can you just check with your therapist that it's okay to work with me? And therapists where I am, they're always really happy that I'm part of the team to work with. And again, so anyway, I digress. So I say, so we draw these, and these are like udders on a cow, okay? And so ha. Okay, and then I go, these in here, we have habits and addictions. And so what do we got here? Well, we've got vaping. We have smoking. We have drugs. We have alcohol. We have shopping. We have gambling, sex, porn. If I've got a young teenager, I'm going to write that in, okay? Not with the parent there. It's like, it's a bit inappropriate, okay? But if I've got an 18-year-old, I will. Maybe even a 17-year-old boy, if they've been allowed to be with me on their own. All right, because they do. I know. I've got 5 children, and porn addiction can be terrible. What are you thinking there, Deborah?
I was just going to say, actually, and same thing, I don't do it with a parent in the room, but I'm finding boys as young as 10 are utilising porn.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the things that I do is I actually bring it up in conversation quite early and let them know that this is a thing that I hear often from boys. And if it's something they want to discuss, they can. I've never had a boy disagree. They've nearly all of them have said to me, yeah, I am using it. And
yeah.
I was quite shocked about what they can actually get online for free. It's quite extreme.
And all it takes is for one to have access, and then
yes.
and then all the other children have it as well.
Right.
It's pretty gross, actually. And then the knock-on effect is that they have really terrible sexual relations with girls afterwards. They treat it is appalling. And as I say, I know it's so yeah, you're going to have to gauge how comfortable you are with that one. It wouldn't faze me, but I'm not going to say that everybody is going to be comfortable with that. Okay, you will have to, again, it's like, what are they coming in for? So it's if it's abuse and things like that, then you would probably say it. So there's so gambling, sex, porn, iPhone, whoops, gaming, of course, gaming, massive, TV, so many different things, and you can add to that list because you know what your client's coming in for. Now there's also OCD, and there's fears, and there's phobias. Now OCD is an interesting one, because people will often say they've got it when they haven't. They, they might go, oh yeah, my mum's got that, and it's like they've heard the dad say, your mother's got OCD, and actually she hasn't. She's just probably a bit house proud, but she's not allowed to be. We get curious, so go, how does she do it? Or how, if somebody says something like that with a disparaging way, it's like we get curious all the time about anything. Then we have anxiety, all the different types of anxiety, okay, including panic attacks, depression. We have tics, I don't mean the little creatures. So we've got ticks. We have nail biting. I'm always looking at their nails. We have picking. I'm looking to see if there's blood all around the cuticles, if there's scratches. Now, picking is criticism. Okay. And yeah,
sorry for interrupting. I have a question. What about lip biting?
Yeah.
Like if someone comes in.
Cheek chewing. Yeah. Let's put cheek chewing down. And I think that is also criticism. Cheek chewing. Okay. I agree as your Chris. There's hair pulling, which is trichotillomania. And then I always make the joke, I'm not going to write trichotillomania because it will take me all day. All right. So and they go, ha. So I just put hair pulling. All right. Because it probably would take me longer to write trichotillomania. Bruxism. What is bruxism? Teeth grinding, teeth clenching. And so you find out about that. Now, that is often around anger. So, and it is interesting. I had a girl the other day about the picking bit, because and she's going, I don't pick, but my mum does. And it's like, so they, they'll call each other out. So it's, but you're looking then at the relationship there, you see. Because if it was like, but if the mother went, yeah, you're right, I do, but if it was like, no, I don't. Ooh. You see, two different reactions. So that's why sometimes it's quite useful to have because it's the mother and the daughter there if they're a teenager, first of all. And I get it, because my sessions are expensive. And actually, do you know what? They might want to see what I'm about. Is this woman all she's up to, $347? That's a lot of money. So I want to know. I go, well, you both come. Oh, you get 2 for 1 then. That's quite good, isn't it? Especially when I'm doing all this emotional intelligence stuff, first of all. So we have anger, and I want to see what's going on. So there's a method in my madness. Anger. Do you get angry? I ask. Do you get angry with other people? And they may do. A lot of young kids, a lot of boys, they will either hit themselves, they will punch holes in the wall, pull doors off, break stuff, break televisions, break, smash things up. Been there as well. Okay, so I know it to be true. Inner critical voice. It's important to put the inner critical voice down. Again, that's the shoulding one, but it's also our Jiminy Cricket. Because actually, I have found in my experience that because I had a man, this was back in England actually, he said, I want you to see my son, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, and now I'm coming in for a session. And I did this diagram with him. And I said, in a critical voice. And I said, do you have one? He went, no. And I thought, oh, no, you don't. Because you're a complete and utter, I don't diagnose, but my ex-husband was a narcissist, and he came in for a session because he wanted to check what I was doing with my son. And he kept telling me what to do with his son. Right. You are the problem. Expecting his son to go to Cambridge like he did, and that's a big university in England. And he also, so always watch for people's body language. I haven't got my leg up. He also sat like that on the chair. So I had a good frontal. And it's like, okay. So that, as it's like, and of course he had no inner critical voice. I think I ought to send my wife to you, he says. I mean, it is hilarious what we find out from our clients just by asking that question. Anybody who's coming to see us generally has an inner critical voice, though, and it is their Jiminy Cricket. So if you have somebody who is large, and you might, and I see a lot of girls that are carrying extra weight, and they're saying to me, I'm, you know, this voice, it's horrible, it's really mean to me. What is it saying? It's saying, well, I don't look very nice in my clothes. I'm this, I'm that. I'm lazy. I'm whatever. I'm smell. I do all these things. Really, really horrible. I go, well, do you know what? I said, do you know what the second order is? I said, it's because it loves you. It doesn't want you to die. And that is why things can be so noisy. Our voice is inside our head. So that's why we get curious. And I say, is it your voice or is it somebody else's voice? Oh, it's my voice. But if it's somebody else's voice, then again, we get curious. Okay. But the inner critical voice is a very interesting one. Now, we also have perfectionism. So many of our clients will have perfectionism issues, and it's often learned behavior. And they really beat themselves up, and then also becomes the inner critical voice. But because they have perfectionist problems, they will often have procrastination. Because if they can't do it perfectly, then they won't do it at all, which is can then be a real nightmare for people. Is that you, Barbara? Yeah. So it's like, it's just do it, you know, it really is. Now, we also have this stealing. I have got clients who steal. And that's an interesting one. Okay. We can add things on here. Oh, keeping busy. Busy. Some people have to keep busy, because otherwise they're left with their thoughts. And they can't stand that either. Oh, and then of course there's the nice ones like hobbies. Oh, and of course I forgot to put work in the habits and addictions. And there's also the gym. Now, because some people really can overdo it at the gym as well. We've all heard the word workaholic. So, oh, and there's also do-gooders. Now, nothing wrong with our do-gooders, nothing wrong with having our hobbies. When I see my own friends who plaster things all over Facebook, oh, I've done this for charity and I've done that for charity and and everybody's going, oh, you're amazing, you're wonderful, blah, blah, blah. And I go, yep. And they probably didn't get enough praise when they were a child. And that's an exile in pain. So we always get curious. There's nothing wrong with being a do-gooder, because we need our do-gooders in the world, but we know that there's probably something missing. Right. Any questions? Anything anybody wants to add to this?
Did you say pain, like mystery pains and things like?
Thank you. I did not. Pain. Pain is one. IBS. Okay. We've got migraines. Mystery pain. Teenagers have mystery pain, tummy aches. And often there is a secondary gain. And in fact, you're right, Barbara, I missed out sleep as well. Insomnia.
There's just so many, and I keep adding them.
I know, there's so many. You could keep adding to it. Oh, and there's self-harming, and there's eating disorders, and there's like literally the list could go on. But actually, sleep is actually an important one. I do always ask my clients, and I write it on a separate piece of paper, because I want to make my own notes, how they sleep. Do they sleep okay? Do they perceive that they sleep okay? Because sleep, if you've got a teenager that is constantly tired, but then they're also got coming in with ADHD symptoms, it's often just because they haven't got enough sleep, actually. So we get curious again. But pain, migraines. So I had this is an interesting one. I'll share a story here. I had a client who had migraines, and I was able to get rid of them for her because I got to the root cause. The root cause was when she was little, and it got her out. She didn't have a headache at all, but it got her out of a really tricky situation when she was little at school. And so then she started getting headaches to get out of stuff. And then she started, her son, very autistic, because there's a spectrum of autism, right? I see some people, they say they're autistic, and right, are you? You know, it's like, but he was very autistic. She did bring him into me. We had a chess game, because I said, when we do this work afterwards, we'll play a game of chess. He was so rude. I really didn't want to play chess with him. He was saying, well, that was a stupid move. I mean, it was like, really, you know, because he had no skills, but it was like people skills, but it was like, he was a difficult character. So sometimes when she was exhausted, she would get migraines, and then she couldn't move, and her husband actually had to do stuff. Isn't that interesting? So that was her secondary gain, was to give her a rest. So we always, it served her a purpose. That part of her having migraines served her a purpose. Interesting, isn't it? So we always everything we get curious about, and we have our little question mark around every single little area of somebody's behavior. All right. Now, so thank you, Barbara. I appreciate you mentioning that. Any questions, Deborah, on any of that? Does it all make sense?
Yeah, it does. And so how do you categorize them into each other, if you know what I mean? Is it?
Oh,
doesn't matter.
No,
yeah.
No. Apart from, I just do for the habits and addictions.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's just as they come to me. It's just as they come to into my head. And like I say, I'll do it, but possibly differently, you know, every time. But I mainly put all of those ones in. I'll do perfectionism and procrastination together.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at it. I don't know if you realize, but some of it obviously got habits and behaviors. Some of it seems to be more like behaviors, as in you know, like anger, that sort of thing. And then there's other ones that it's more emotional stuff.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'll keep emotional stuff together, and I'll keep probably tics, nail biting, picking, cheek chewing, hair,
so straight up behavior stuff. Yeah.
I'll keep that together.
You said there were two big ones that were criticism, picking, and you said another one was a big criticism one.
Cheek chewing, hair pulling, and anything that is like where you hurt yourself. Even bit of nail biting. Tics is often a fear of being criticized, and then it all it has to happen is once you do something weird and you get a grandparent or go, what are you doing that for? And it's like, but it's an anxiety thing. OCD is from anxiety, but it's really tricky too if it goes on too much. But I have helped people with, I had one lady, she was literally picking her eyes out. It was hideous. Yeah, I mean, she
work a fair bit with OCD, and the thing with it is it just takes a long time. I've had some good success with it, but you know, if I get them coming in, I say this could take up to a year,
right?
And because it's so complex. I'll give you one girl I work with. She had 97 rituals.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, so you know, when it gets that big, you can see why it would take a year to sort of work through that. But you know, she did it, so that's good.
Yeah, I explain to people exactly, you see, so that's why people would say, oh, they've got OCD, and I go, tell me how they do OCD. Oh, well, she's always, you know, cleaning the house up and tidying things up. And I go, you know, or even people, you know, mothers will say, oh, I've got OCD, and I go, have you? Tell me what you do. And it's like, and then I have to explain this. I go, let me just show you something. So hang on, let me just turn my, oh, you can see my doorknob. This is OCD. to do that however many times, or the world will blow up, or my family will die in a car crash, or whatever. Would you agree with me, Deborah?
Yeah, it's usually safety. It's more often usually safety for somebody else, like you said, the family. And if something happens, then they haven't done enough of whatever it is to have prevented that. So then it escalates. It's funny because in my clinic, I purposefully have some things, like one of my pictures is slightly off kilter, and I have a wall plug, and I have it switched on. There's nothing in it. And people that are OCD, that really have proper OCD, they will spot that the minute they sit down. And I'm watching to see what they're doing, right? Because the perfectionism and all that stuff, it's all there.
Yeah. So and I'm the same. I do. I've and my pictures are really off kilter. So it's like, but it is interesting to watch. So it's like, so I will always go, well, so have you got OCD, or your house proud? Okay. And they go, oh, I'm just house proud. Because I said, because you're doing that because you think, no, I don't do that. So now that one's gone, because I've said it, it's gone, and they've accepted themselves.
It's just one of those things that's become common in common conversation, and it's a bit insulting to people that really do suffer with that condition, because it is so debilitating.
I agree, and same with the whole word of narcissism.
Yes, exactly. It's another example. Yeah.
Every single man is narcissistic. Really? Don't think so. Okay.
But there's a distinction between having narcissistic tendencies and being diagnosed with a narcissistic condition, right? That's so. I mean, we all have narcissistic tendencies somewhere, but
we do. We're meant to.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we just are, because we have to look after ourselves. We have to put ourselves first, because it's the me. So I agree, Deborah. Thank you for pointing that out. As your Gris, do you have any questions on that? Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Because we will be referring back to it here and there. Okay. So
Okay.
where did she go? Sorry. Oh, Barbara, you are hilarious. Honestly, she's playing hide and seek with me. Okay. No. So right.
And I thought, oh my God, you have to save the notes, and the thing isn't plugged in where I need to save the notes. I'm trying to figure out why. There we go. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm recording this anyway. All right. So now another diagram. And then I say, and now I've got another diagram. And this one, start with a triangle. This diagram is not in the notes there as a thingy, because it's really easy for us to draw triangles, right? So this is the triangle of life when we're first born. All right. And our mind is eager to learn. Our body is eager to get going. And our soul is brand new and shiny from Soul World. And then I say, do you believe in souls? Most people say yes. Now I found out that they believe in souls. If they say no, I go, that's fine. We just say self. Okay. Most people, if they're coming to see like a hypnotist, they probably do believe in souls, just by the nature of it. Okay. But occasionally, and we don't want to put necessarily our beliefs on somebody else. I will say my beliefs if I've got somebody coming for grief. I'll go, this is what I believe in, but it's your, and then it's up to them. But it's not for us to put our beliefs on people. So just go. So I ask that question. Okay, do you believe in souls? They go, no. Okay, self. So we're going to have self then. And then I say, now, when all of these overlap, we get this lovely little bit in here. My pen's running out. And that is called balance and harmony. So balance and harmony. And if we're lucky, that's what we have when we're little. Okay, play, 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 Christmas, birthdays, play, 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 Christmas, birthdays. Now, not everybody has that, okay? And you will get some people, some teenagers go, I didn't get that. You'll get some adults who'll go, I didn't get that. Or you literally, they go, yeah, because they know exactly what you mean. So you then say, oh, and then we go to school and we have expectations. And then because I've got the parent there, just say if I've got the parent there, especially, I will say, and or if I'm just seeing the parents, I go, some parents, and I say it to my teenagers as well. So I just say this, okay? I say some parents put on their child, why didn't you make the A star? Why didn't you make honor roll? Why didn't you make the cheer team or the football team, the soccer team? Why didn't you? They did. And they start comparing you to, say, other children or other family members, brothers or sisters. And then the expectations, that leads to disappointments. And then I also say, and of course, there's some parents that they're absolutely fine. It's not them that does it, it's the child that does it. And then you will get parents either saying, oh my gosh, yes, that's us, or that's what my parents did to me. Oh, and I do it to my kids. You may get the child going, my parents don't do it, I do it to myself. You may get, no, no, because I don't know what you're going to get. Okay, it could be from other peers doing it to them, or a brother or a sister, or a grandparent, or a teacher putting these expectations on them. However, these expectations can lead to disappointments, and it leads to this triangle. Now we draw the inverted triangle, the upside down triangle, okay? And that on one corner, I'm going to put anger, fear, and guilt. I'll just hold that up so you can all see that. Anger, fear, and guilt. You see that? And then I say it just like this. And the anger feeds the fear, and the fear feeds the guilt, and the guilt feeds the anger, and the fear feeds the anger, and the anger feeds the guilt, and the guilt feeds the fear. And it goes every which ways. And I say, that's a horrible triangle, isn't it? Now, by then, I've already got a massive gist of what's going on with them. Do you know what I mean by the word gist, Barbara? I know Deborah does. But I know what's going on with them. And then I go, and you're doing that. And they go, yeah. I go, that's horrible, isn't it? Okay. Or it's like, you have to gauge who you're talking to. Yes, Barbara.
Is the disappointment that arises, is the disappointment coming from like the parents, the grandparents, or whatever, or is the disappointment inside?
Well, again, it's going to be different from every person. But it's like if they feel that they're kids, it's like they love, that's all they know. No, even if somebody's really mean and horrible to them, they'll probably still love them because it's the same thing. They want to please them, and then their loved one can be so disappointed with them, and so it's like this horrible feeling. So they like their fear, and I go, and the fear is usually because all anger, okay, and I say it to them, all anger, because you've got a lot of your people coming to you with anger, a lot of teenagers, a lot of children. All anger is based in fear, and that's I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm unlovable, I'm rubbish, I'm crap, I'm stupid. And it's really sad. And you will have already got a gist of what's going on for them. I'm not worthy. I'm not as good as. So it's like this, this fear. All anger is based in fear. And then, of course, and there could be guilt because of their bad behavior, and then it goes backwards and forwards again. And you know, the anger, it doesn't even need to be sort of like coming out like that. It could be the internal anger of shoulding on themselves. I should be slimmer. I should be cleverer. I should be like my brother. I should be good at drawing, you know. I should be good at singing. I mean, just the things can be, you know, to us right now might seem so insignificant, but to a kid, it could be huge. Or a teenager. So this triangle, so I say to them, I go, now it's my job to get you back to balance and harmony as best as I can. And we do that through acceptance, forgiveness. So I say acceptance. So that's acceptance of yourself and acceptance of other people. Acceptance of oneself is absolutely massive. It's huge. And then I say, and forgiveness. And I say, that's forgiveness of yourself. And then I say, however, do you know what? It could be forgiveness of other people. And that would be lovely. However, I see a lot of people who have been abused. And I say, so who am I to tell you to forgive somebody? I said, what I can do is get you to a place of indifference so that it's your choice to forgive if you choose to. Any questions on that?
Well, I'm just going to say one of the things I add as well. This is really good, by the way, Claudia, I really like it. The other thing to say is that some things are unforgivable. There are some things that are unforgivable, you know, through abuse and things, and that's okay too. But the idea of the forgiving self so that you can move on, well, not move on, but so that you can just let that stuff go in a healthy way. But some things are unforgivable.
So it's and so I then say, you're quite right. And then so then I say, letting go is my job. And that is what I'm going to teach all of you to do. Letting go, I say, that's my job. That's my job. Because this is what you get to do. And this, I say, is your job. And I write down moving on. Now I ring the letting go. I say, that's my job. Moving on. And I underline moving on. I say, that's your job. And then because I've said it with all this conviction and with all this kind of real meaning, you know, because I've said anger, fear, you know, and I've gone, and my job is helping you let it go, and moving on, that's your job. And I go, how does that sound? And they're like going, yeah. Okay, so you've got all this compliance, you've got all this yes, because that is what you want people to be doing. Yes, all the time. Does that make sense? So I then, again, I will keep that to the side. And then and then my next thing that I then do is I go, so let me explain this. And then I get my little ball out and I go, yep, this isn't just for the cat. I said, I'm going to use this. This represents our amygdala. Now, I'm going to explain it for my teenagers and my adults to you, and then I'm going to explain it as well for my little people. Okay, because I might say this represents our amygdala, a very special part in our brain, and then I'll say it. I won't say everything else that I'm necessarily going to say. this is because they just don't need to. Children will just go, okay. The little ones will just go, all right, because you've said it and you're right. So for my teenagers and my adults, so this represents our amygdala, and it's always looking after us. It's going fight, flight, freeze. In fact, I will say that for my little ones, but it's going fight, flight, freeze, fight, flight, freeze. And it's very clever. It's always looking after us, because right now, if I asked if a copperhead, right, for you two in where you are, if a crocodile or an alligator, right, came into your rooms, you'd move pretty quick, yeah. You'd probably jump up on your desk or something, wouldn't you? Yeah. And as your Gris, I expect you have copperheads where you are as well. So if a copperhead slithered in here right now, I'd move pretty damn quick, right? But if I said to you, everybody, if I said to all of you, stand up on your desk, yeah, you'd look at me as I was crazy. All right. Now, not a problem if a big crocodile came into your room, right? So I say, so aren't our brains amazing? Because we'd go like that and we get a shot of cortisol, a shot of adrenaline, and we would just move. So aren't our brains amazing? And everybody goes, yes. And I also explain, I go, and do you know what? Adrenaline is a memory fixer. Okay? So adrenaline is a memory fixer. And then I say, so I want you to imagine now. Imagine we are in a bank and a robber comes in with a gun. And I do that with my fingers. All right. I make a little gun. All right. And a robber comes in with a gun. I pull the ball apart and I go, we'd probably go like that, right? We'd probably freeze. Now he smells of a really stinky cologne. And then he grabs us, and I touch my shoulder like this. He grabs us by our shoulders and he shoves us in a tiny closet. And now we're trapped in a tiny closet. And now the police come. So we were like this. The police come, they take him away. We're let out. Ooh, we go back down. However, you might not like flying. And you might not, and I might not like elevators, lifts. One of you, if you're in a small room, might always have to have the doors open. And then 20 years later, you might smell the smell of the stinky cologne and have and your brain's going like this. You're going, oh, I don't know why, but I'm feeling really uneasy. And you might have a full-blown panic attack. And you have no idea why you are having a panic attack. But the amygdala remembers why. The amygdala remembers everything. And it will remember that smell. The olfactory center is one of the things that really, I mean, I'm sure you will all remember sort of like the smell of certain flowers or fragrances and things remind you of a grandma or just a school, a hospital. People always go, I can't stand the smell of hospital. It's those smells. So I say, when we're like this, when our amygdala is wide open, okay, so we've got the adrenaline flowing. It's called an AMPA receptor. So I then say it's like a big blob of poo and it sticks to the brain. And then over time, it might catastrophize and goes into sloppy poo. So now, not only might you not like flying, now if you're in the movie theatre, cinema, you might always have to sit at the end of the row. You might not like queues. So you've catastrophized it. So that blob of poo, and there might be a few, you might have loads of sloppy poo all over the place. It's catastrophized. So this is why, so something from way back when, I don't know, I know what it was like for me. So I had a car crash way back when. It wasn't my fault, but then it catastrophized into so many other areas. And then I didn't like this and I didn't like that. And this and that. And it's just like, so it just built up and built up. and it just went into other areas. But you have to get rid of that one, and there was pain involved. So it's quite interesting how the body keeps the score. So I said, my job is to clean the poo up. And so as a client once said to me, oh, so you're the pooper scooper. I go, yep, I'm the pooper scooper. So we are going to get your poop in a group, and you will feel it. Not for long though. You will feel it though. Then we deal with it, and then we heal it. Now I say we will heal it. I do not call myself a healer. I do have lots of colleagues of mine who call themselves healers. That's lovely. I don't. I prefer to say I guide other people to do their own healing. So we do it together, if that makes sense. Now, so then I go, and then the next bit I say to my teenagers or my adults, or the teenager and the adult, I said, so this is what I would like you to do. Age. And then I write this down. This is their homework. If I've got somebody who hates homework, do you think I'm going to use the word homework? If they hate school? No. This is what I'd like you to do. And if it's not happening for you, then just bring it with you and we'll do it together next time. Because some people just find they can't do it, and that's okay. It has to be okay. We have to be client-centered and meet them where they're at. You will have some people who do full spreadsheets for you. So this is what we have. Significant emotional events. Or it could be a feeling. Now, when I was in England, I could write the word trauma. I'm in the state of North Carolina. I can't do that. I don't know what you can do in Texas as your Gris, but your mum's a pediatrician, so she can use the word trauma. Deborah, you'll be able to use the word trauma. Barbara, I don't think you can in Florida. You will need to say a significant emotional event or a feeling. And then we say, it's the bad ones. I don't want the good ones. And as Barbara on your other training, I love this. It's not we don't need to get rid of the good ones, because as Barbara, you said, well, the good ones are like ice cream on the brain, because it's not poo, they're like balls of ice cream. And I am now using that with my clients. Thank you, Barbara, for saying that, because it's so lovely for kids to realize they've got ice cream on their brain as well. On their amygdalas, because there's happy events, right? There's birthday parties, there's Christmas, there's some things that will be good memories. And we're not taking those significant emotional events away, or those feelings. Those bits of ice cream can stay. Does that make sense for the little ones? It's really nice. So thank you, Barbara, for that.
So at this point, you're saying I just want the negative ones to start the clearing, right? I don't want the whole story.
Yeah. I only want the horrible ones. And then out of 10, how much that still upsets you. 10 being the worst, 0 nothing. Now, I use a ruler to help my young kids. So of course, that's out of 12, but that doesn't matter. So out of 10, how much that still upsets them. They may not even know what it is, but if we can just get something to start working from, then that's helpful. It could just be, as I say, a feeling. This other day, which is on the Facebook group, I don't know if any of you have seen it, that young girl who coloured her whole body in black and then her face white, she's lost. We've managed to get the lost down from a 12 out of 12 down to a 3, but then she came in with scared. Well, I'm going to deal with that next time. But of course, she's been lost for so long, so that's the path well trod. Now she's scared, because it's like, although we were able to fill the void, there's just a new feeling, because it's like identity. Well, I've been lost for so long. There's so many layers to this, okay? So now we've got to figure that out in the next session. Any questions on this? Any questions on this? Oh, on my ball.
Can you just tell me what you've written on that last one that you just did? What's the first heading? I can't quite see it.
Oh, their age, how old they were.
Okay.
Yeah, might be my writing. Age. Yeah, no, it's the pen. age, okay? Age, significant emotional events or a feeling. As I say, saying that, do you know, I prefer the word significant emotional event to trauma in any way, because now we're labeling it.
Well, now you're telling them they have trauma.
Yeah. So actually, I prefer it.
Yeah.
That you could maybe change that into an acronym, you know, SEE. C.
C. Yeah.
I'm just sorry, I'm just thinking, I'm sure you could play around with that.
Yeah, a C, because let's seek.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there you go. You see, you gotta love it. You see, we always find out new things on here. So, and then, as I say, out of 10. So that I then take off again. You know, that's theirs. They keep all of these diagrams that I'm drawing because I know them. Oh, I don't need loads of these sheets of paper, but the client loves to take something away with them. All right. And it's really super helpful. Now, before I go into the next diagram, does anybody need to go to the bathroom? Yeah. Okay, well, Barbara does. We'll do 5 minutes. Okay, as your Gris does. 5 minutes, yeah? Quick bathroom, quick drink. See you back here, please, as soon as you're done. Oh, I shall just put that on pause then. That as well. So, yeah, I did. I got this from Carl Smith. The reason why I don't say it gets stuck inside, and people have asked that before, actually on the training, they've said, oh, I say it gets stuck in, because I'm not sure, I don't know if Carl says that, but it's like, I don't stuck in me, then it's got to come out.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it makes more sense.
Sorry.
And it seems more control. I'll just let that go. But I'm just saying, it seems more controllable when it's on the outside rather than being on the inside. Yeah.
So it's like, so when it's on the outside, you could just yeah, wash it off. So that's why I say it's stuck on as opposed to in. So
it was a bit like when you said the word, do you believe in souls? Well, there's a whole stream of things that came into mind that were really inappropriate. Oh God. So
there's all sorts of stuff that we could say. So does that so yeah, as I was saying, I do the triangle one, because I do like to say where I got things from, because I mean I didn't come up with all this. It's you know, a lot of this is NLP stuff. But the triangles one that I got from Beryl Comer, and the one with like the hand with the little lobes, where did I got that from? Oh my gosh, so long ago, 2016, from hang on, it's up here on my thing, Adobe, Wally Oladapo.
What was that?
Somebody in England, but I think he got it from someone. So it's like everything has been, and I draw it differently to how he did it. So we have things and we develop them and we make them our own.
Yeah, that's right. It's all these things that inform your practice, right? And then you put it all together. Because I often say to myself, I'm like an integrative therapist, because I'm stealing things from all over the place. If it works for the client, I have no shame. I'll use it if it works for the client.
Exactly. Yeah. So even when I'm doing my bunny talk process, because I've done so many other things like havening and what have you, I'll just think, oh, I bet I'll use that bit, you know. But for people who haven't trained in that, this is a full process. You can just use this. So again, even Deborah, as you're doing it, you'll probably go, oh, but that bit might work best for this particular client. Integrative is much better than the word I use, which is I mixy blob everything together. Which is actually what the bunny talk process has become. It's a mixy blob of all the different processes that I have learned.
It's a melting pot.
There you go, a melting pot. No,
I have to tell you,
yeah,
what's been really cool this whole process, I mean, starting from beginning and the people I met and the things that came up, and then I met this person and I met this person there, and so when Beryl Comer's name came up somewhere, I can't remember where, and I went, oh wait, it's that bunny talk diagram. I actually remember that, you know, because I made a note and I thought that was really interesting. But there's been so many things like that. It comes up and I go, oh yeah, Claudia does that. And it wasn't that it came from a particular person. It was the way they were struggling to explain a certain process, and I can't remember where it was in the thing. And so I explained it because I had the words, and I said, yeah, it's like, and I just described whatever the situation was. They went, yeah, what Barbara said. And I thought to myself, yeah, thank you, Claudia, funny talk. Yeah. By the way, I have told everyone, and I gave them links to your website, and I said, you have to read about it in the Mike Mandel Academy. I've told everybody about Bunny Talk several times, and I said, go look, you need to learn about this. This is, we are changing the world, and you want to find out about it. And one of the people, when we were doing a practice session, was talking about something, and I said, they were talking about a client, no names, of course, and I said, right there, I said, you could do incredible stuff with the Bunny Talk process. Go look it up. I'm happy to schedule a session with you and talk about it. Because it was perfect, because it was well, he did say trauma, but it was a trauma, and they were struggling with it. I was like, Bunny Talk.
I read it all the time and I go, Bunny Talk process would help that. The Bunny Talk process would help that. Yep, you can use that. You can use that. It's just like, it covers pretty much everything. So, okay, everybody, are we all together? So then I say, now the next diagram I have, and I say, this is one of my favorites. And then I go, it starts at the very beginning of life. And I say it just like this. And you've got, and then I use my hands. So just watch me a minute. I go, you've got the sperm meets the egg, and they come together and make a little zygote. Now, you've got a teenager who may just say start flagging, because say they hadn't wanted to come to you anyway. You say sperm, they go, oh, okay. She just said sperm. Yep. Okay. And then I go, and the first thing that is made of the human is, and I draw a little circle. So this is now the circles one that you've got in your manual. Okay. And this, so I draw a little circle like this, and I go, that is your unconscious mind. So the first thing that is made of the human being is the brain, and it's the unconscious bit of the brain. And it is in charge of our bodily functions, because it then says make a heart, eye, because that's the next bit that's made of the human. The heart, eyes, nose, ears, mouth, teeth, legs, kidneys, spleen, stomach. Say whatever parts of the body you want to say, okay? And I say, and then I say, and isn't it amazing? Because right now, I'm not saying kidneys flush, heart pump, lungs breathe. My body, our bodies are amazing. They're just doing all these things, and they're going, yeah. So again, we've got this, yes. I say, no, it's also in charge of our immune system, because when we're first, when we're ill, we sleep. And now, this is what I say. If I have somebody who's come to me, so sometimes we get youngsters who have come because they're upset because they've had a termination. They've had to get rid of a baby, all right? And they just can't get over it. We will see mothers who have multiple miscarriages, and maybe there was a termination before that. And the guilt can be, like I say, ready? Remember on that triangle? Anger, fear, and guilt. Okay. At some point, because you've been drawing that one, and you've mentioned babies, they may then have already started saying something, or you may know it already from them speaking to you on the telephone. It depends on how you do your intake. I always do mine but by the telephone, or I always take a phone call first of all. For me, I want to know if I'm actually going to like them or help them. I personally And everybody's different. So if you have an intake form, because it depends the questions you ask, but I can't gauge the person from that. I want to hear their voice. I want to hear the catch in the voice. I just want to hear them, you know, or I might see them on the Zoom for a quick 15-minute. That's where we're all different. Okay. So I'm not going to tell anybody how to do their business. Now, the immune system, like I say, so if you have somebody who you may suspect even that they've had a termination or lost a baby or whatever it is, I said, because when we're first making a baby, I say, we get very tired. Now, Deborah, you got children? 3. Okay. So I know you've had children, Barbara. I know as your Gris, not yet. So it's like when we're first making a baby, we get very tired. And at 22 weeks, baby is fully made. And I say the next bit of the brain is made, and that is our subconscious mind. And that is in charge of our senses, because that's when we start can talk to the baby. So I say, and apparently, because if they believe in souls, right? Remember, go back to that soul bit, because apparently that as well is when the soul joins the baby. Now, if sometimes you get people going, oh, okay, you've literally done the work there and then. They've given themselves grace. They've given themselves forgiveness, because, as everybody had been saying to them, it was just a fetus. The soul hadn't joined the baby yet. Does that make sense? I have had, and I did see somebody, she was an alcoholic because of this. All right. She'd actually terminated the baby at 24 weeks, or was it 22? No, she had 22 weeks. So do you know what? I just made that. And the soul joins the baby 23 to 25 weeks. I just made it a little bit longer. She didn't know. All right. I will do whatever I need to do to help my clients. All right. Does that make sense? That is a very powerful thing that we can do for a woman. And we can do that. And I have. And she was able to forgive herself. It gave herself grace, because she went, oh, she kind of like, and you could just literally feel the change as she sat next to me. So, of course, we're seeing, I wouldn't do this necessarily with a little child either. So, but it's like you can help a lot of people and mothers who have had miscarriages. It's like, all right, it makes it the whole thing more clinical, okay, that they lost a fetus as opposed to a baby. But of course, because we know it's still a baby. I've had 2 miscarriages, so you know there were babies. But the fact is that even me saying this, I can be more clinical about it. And I'm actually pretty good at being quite clinical about it, because yeah. I personally think it's our bodies doing what they're meant to do and saying no to an unhealthy, cells. So, like I say, I'm quite lucky in that. But I have got some clients, and I'm sure many you might have as well, who have. Oh my gosh, I had one lady. She literally does vigils for her 3 lost miscarriages still. And so does her live child. Has to do that for them. Yeah. And she's a very large lady, and so is this live child. Yeah, it's quite interesting. There's a lot going on there. So, but she didn't come to me for the largeness. She just came to me to get rid of the because she couldn't get over the loss of them. And 30 years she'd been in therapy for. 3 sessions, and she did start to drop off a bit, but by then it's a habit. She loves food so much, so she didn't carry on. We just had 3 sessions. So, but I was able to help her. But she'd had 30 years of therapy.
Wow.
And
I know that my daughter doesn't talk about it anymore, but it's in there. It's in there.
Right. There you go. A loss or a termination. Yeah. Yeah. It's in there. So that's how we can help somebody with that. So it's and it's important for me to say this, I think, because it's when we see our teenagers, you see, it's we will have that as a thing at some point. Okay, because they might self-harm because of it, because they might do this, they might, you know, so it now. I think I said this to another, so we've got to be very careful as I'm training it as well, because if people are very into God, then it may be something different. Okay. And I go, that's okay. You do you. You know, this is just something that, because I'm not going to start being told off by somebody. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so senses. I'm too old to get told off nowadays. Or it makes me feel young. Our senses, right? So our senses, sight, sound, hearing, touch, taste, smell. All right. And our senses are in charge of our feelings.
When do these senses come in?
When the subconscious mind comes in, 22 weeks.
Okay, so when you say next bit is the subconscious mind, and that creates our
senses.
That's what I was missing. Okay.
Sight, sound, hearing, touch, taste, smell, because that's when you're first pregnant, you can feel the little baby fluttering. We start talking to the baby around them because it can actually hear you. Our hearing is our first sense, and it's also our last sense to go. Hearing. Okay. So our senses are in charge of our feelings, which are our emotions. And then I write here, which is energy in motion. Now, when you were little, they then say, when you were little and you heard children playing outside, what did you want to do? And they would generally say, yeah, go play. That's right, Barbara, go play. Some children, some adults as well will go, I didn't. I used to hide. Now you're finding something else out, aren't you? So we're learning all the time. But you will find that most people will go, I want to go play. And I go, well, it's the same. Or if they go, I wanted to go hide, I go, okay. I said, and then I just move on. So I clocked it. Yeah, I've taken a note of it in my head. And I go, and I said, but it's the same for the gambling, the flashing lights and the ching, 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 you know, people gamblers, they want to go gamble. People who are smokers, they smell smoke. People drive past a brewery, you know, all these things. And because the senses and the feelings goes backwards and forwards, and it creates a state. Okay, so in between this bit, I write the word state. In between the word senses, feelings, I write the word state. And then I say an estate creates a habit. And a habit always has a positive intention. It's also a protector. And it's also a little bit lazy. So I write all those words underneath each other. Positive intention, protector, lazy. And then I say, and I don't mean lazy like a little sloth. I mean lazy in that it goes back to that default thing every time. So somebody's lazy default could be that they go exercise every morning. Somebody's lazy default could be that they go to Starbucks and have a cigarette. Some people's could be that they always sit outside with a cup of tea and read the newspapers for an hour before they start their day's work. Everybody has their little rituals. And that then becomes their beliefs, yeah, and their values. Their beliefs and their values. So it's like, that's just what I do, you know, I just do that thing. And that's what I do all the time. And then I say, now the next bit of the brain is made. So I'm going to draw the other circle, yeah, around. And that is our conscious mind. And guess how old we are when our conscious mind is made? And I say, but because they might guess, but they might not, 5 to 7 years old. And they go, really? I go, yeah. Because a lot of people will say 25 because they will think, oh, that's when you become an adult. I go, that's generally when it's thought you become an adult. But 5 to 7 years old, that's when we go to school. And as Einstein said, it is our IQ and is 10% of us and can only ever go up or down 4%. So when I'm saying this to my adults, my parents who have massive expectations of their children to get A's when they are only able and capable of getting C's and B's. And I say the IQ, as Einstein said, can only ever go up or down 4%. So you either have it or you don't. We all know those bright kids at school, yeah? And we also know there's just some best one in the world. I'm shit at maths, you know. You know, it's like, it didn't do it for me. It's you know, I just didn't like it. Now this bit in the middle, I say, is 90% of us and is our EQ, emotional intelligence. The unconscious and subconscious then become one, and that is 90% of us, just like this bit here in this diagram. This big bit is 90% of us, and it can grow exponentially. So we can grow our emotional intelligence. We can become more self-aware. Isn't that wonderful? And to be honest, that is, in my opinion, the most important bit.
So what are they 90% of?
That's our emotional intelligence, EQ. And then I say, this is what I'm coaching you on. Now, this bit, the conscious mind out here, is willpower. And it is our rational. So I'm writing this out here: analytical, critical, comparing, and contrasting part of us. So when we were little, we didn't know if somebody was pink, purple, black, white, spotty, stripy. People were people. And it's true, they were, weren't they? We just played with everybody. Didn't matter. Who cares, right? We had to be taught the difference between black and white, and that was usually around 5 or 7 years old when we were at school. So isn't that a shame? Wouldn't it be lovely if we were just doing this bit? However, we need the critical bit for critical thinking. I say, now my job, and now I draw 2 lines through this, and I go, my job is to bypass the critical faculty of the conscious mind and go in this middle bit to create change. And we do that with hypnosis, shock, and relaxation. So that can be relaxotherapy, if you like, that we do when we're doing the relaxation bit. And when I say shock, I say to my clients, I don't mean like shock therapy. I mean, a shock will do it. And I explained, because a best friend, and you may use your own example, but this is true, a best friend of ours, his twin brother died of drinking and smoking too much, and he stopped just like that. So as I drawing any of these diagrams, as much as, you know, when you are doing them, you can sort of like use your own examples to help you remember them better. Okay. Because I don't expect everybody to remember everything that I say. You can say some of your own stories to make it more personal to you, you know, so you remember it. And then I say, well, shock doesn't always work, because I had, now this is what I'm just seeing all my normal clients, and I say this, like anybody who comes or in a child work, so you've got say an adult. So because I had a client once who came into me, she was wanting help with stop smoking, and she was a breast cancer survivor, 2 small children, and she was smoking 8 cigarettes a day. And she said to me, what am I doing? So in the first session, we immediately got it down to 2 cigarettes, because if you're only smoking 8, then there's only 2 that count. Following week, she comes into me with her homework. Yeah. And she has it written down here. When she started smoking, it was when her dad had criticized her in front of her brother, saying that her brother was better than she was, would amount to more than she would. And that was when she started smoking, because it was basically a bit like a fuck you, dad. I'm quite clearly not good enough and I'm going to start smoking because I know you hate it. So that was her belligerent teenager part. And I said, and what are you still saying to the cancer? And she was like, oh yeah, fuck you, cancer, can't tell me what to do. And so then with the eye movements that I'm now going to share with you lot soon, when I'm going to have a guinea pig, not a real life guinea pig, one of you guys, I'll do the eye movements. That's what I did on her. Now, and then in hypnosis, we grew that part up so that the 15-year-old, she grew it up, I didn't. I just guided, and so that 15-year-old would serve her in a better place. Now, if I had just done, because we're all capable of doing smoking cessations, just on the smoking, well, imagine, because the dad's still alive, imagine he comes and stays and he starts criticizing her children. She's going to go like that. Because that poo has been activated. Yeah. And now, guess what she's going to do? She'll probably either start smoking again or do something else. Does that make sense? So you have to clear the poo. That, in my opinion, all right? And that's why you're all doing this, because I do this a lot and it works. Okay. You have to get to the root of the issue. Now, imagine we have a smoker, New Year's Eve, and he is using his willpower. Oh, willpower. And he goes, I'm going to stop smoking. Oh, he goes to a party. His friends are drinking and smoking. He starts drinking. He didn't say he was going to stop drinking. And guess who starts smoking again? Yeah, because what's going to win? The army of 10% or the army of 90%? Now, this bit, as I explained to my clients, this bit in the middle, this subconscious, unconscious mind, this bit doesn't know that anything is good or bad for you. It doesn't know that too much ice cream would be unhelpful. It doesn't know that gambling is unhelpful. It doesn't know that vaping and smoking. It doesn't know that going to the gym is good for you. It just does whatever it wants to do, because this bit in the middle, all it wants to do, this 90% of us, all it wants to do, and then I underline, wants to protect our feelings. That's all this bit wants to do. Get another pen. Protect our feelings, because this bit in the middle doesn't know that anything's good or bad for you. So, and then I explain, so we are not our behaviors. We are our good intention. And our good intention is always to protect our feelings. We are not our behaviors. So we go back to this diagram. So then I pull this one up again. And I say, we are not our behaviors. Now look at all those behaviors that we've kind of written under here. We are not our behaviors. We are our good intention. And these, or doing all these behaviors, guess what it's doing? Protecting you from the exiles in pain, because they are so horrible. And as I will have explained to my clients, my job is to get rid of those exiles in pain, the poo, yeah? We are not all this stuff like anger and nail biting and fears and alcohol and anxiety and panic attacks and hair pulling and all stealing. We're not that. We are our good intention, and our good intention will be to protect our feelings, because people do not like feeling their feelings. Okay, which is the poo. And then I write down, we can only manage what we can acknowledge. And then I say to them, now that you have all this awareness, I'll just hold this up like that. We can only manage what we can acknowledge. Now that we have all this awareness, we can actually manage it. Because the next time you go to put your hand in your mouth, you'll be going, I'm doing my thing because I didn't want to feel that. Oh, but now I don't need to do it because she's got rid, or we will get rid of them when we clear the poo. But you'll just be aware of when you're getting angry. Oh, that was from probably a fear. Oh, yeah. You just become more aware, because the self-awareness is massive. We can't change unless we're aware of that we've got stuff to change. Does that make sense? Any questions on any of this? I'll just let everybody catch up a bit.
So the idea of protecting our feelings because of what's the other thing that you said?
Yeah, so we are
those black dots.
Yeah, the exiles in pain.
Okay, so yeah, the exiles in pain. So the exiles in pain, they produced feelings, but we don't like to experience their feelings. Therefore, there's this other layer of protection, so we don't get to the exiles in pain. Is that how I'm?
Yeah, so we do all these behaviors, because when we're doing any of these, anybody's doing all of these, because this,
yeah,
it's like then a comfort, because anything that's oral, anything, cigarette, drinking, food, any teeth, anything like that, oral fixation, anything to do with teeth, our mouths, that goes back to the first thing that we ever did when we came out of the womb, suck on the mother's nipple. So we're all about comfort, because we don't want to feel that, we don't actually want to do any pain. Nobody wants to do any pain, so do anything else not to feel it. So numbing, drugs is numbing, alcohol's numbing, gambling is kind of like numbing. And so many of these things are numbing because it's a comfort. Food gives you false dopamine, I mean, the gym is a good one because it gives you endorphins. And that's a healthy one because we have our own pharmacy up here.
And I'm doing something good because it's healthy, and so it's okay.
So that one's okay.
Right.
However,
so it's covering, it's avoidance, it's masking.
Yeah, but a lot of them, yeah. If somebody is overdoing it,
yeah,
and there are, okay, there are people who overdo it. Or
I'm trying to put the, sorry, I spoke over you then.
No, go.
I'm just trying to put it in language that I understand. So we would talk about coping mechanisms, right? Not all coping mechanisms are created equal. Some are positive and have a benefit, and others less so positive. And we talk about intolerance for discomfort being one of the big drivers of behaviors. So people don't like feeling uncomfortable. It's probably one of our biggest drivers overall. I mean, just look what happened in COVID-19 without getting political. But, you know, think people did lots of things in order to feel comfort and not have to face certain other things. So am I right? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
You are absolutely right. So, and it's quite interesting because I've trained this to a few therapists now, and they come in with the same language because it's how
we just use different language.
Different language. Yeah.
We talk a lot of control, internal orientation. We talk about tolerance for discomfort, intolerance for ambiguity, and then all these behaviors will drop out of that, you know, as ways of coping with that. But look, I love your explanation, because to me this is like just a ginormous psychoeducation piece, but very layered.
It is. It's like psychotherapy, but I've broken it down into such language that I explain it to my clients and they get it.
Well, that's right. And that's the other thing that, I mean, you know, we said before about being busy and things. I think that's where I'm different, because I talk the client's language, because they're not interested in tolerance and discomfort. And what does that mean to them? It's how does it show up in their life? This is what it looks like. When you're doing that, this is what it comes up as. So yeah, I like the fact that, look, you're from Yorkshire, what can I say? We like to keep things simple.
Yeah, the kiss, keep it simple, sweetheart.
Yeah, so
Beryl Comer's from Yorkshire as well.
Yes, she is. That's right. Yeah.
So so our job is to clear the poo, and that's why I use the word poo instead of amperoceptor. I'll say it once, you know, and I'll say amygdala, but otherwise I'm just using this. This represents the amygdala. It's like, really and truly, the jargon, I mean, and even then I'm using a bit of jargon here and there. It's like, it doesn't need to be too much. I want my clients to take ownership and responsibility. And when they do, then change happens. So it's like, so as I say, we can only manage what we can acknowledge. And then I say, now that you have this awareness, now you can manage it. And they're like, yes. Because again, you're getting another yes. Okay. It's so, and then I've got another diagram, which quite often I actually do before I do the ones with the circles. What were you going to ask, Barbara?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, because I'm cross-referencing notes with my diagrams, because my diagrams have extensive notes on them, but I'm also making helpful narrative notes. And I had that diagram, the circle one, marked number 5.
Yeah, I've got another one. Yeah. Because I often do that after this one, which I'm going to do right now.
So should I switch them and make this?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, you can do it, because it just depends on what mood I'm in. Like I say, I don't run to a and same with you know, I pretty much do it uniform, but because I don't follow my manual, because it's all in my head. You know, you'll get the same when I do a talk at a conference. I don't use notes. You just get what comes out my mouth. Same when I do hypnosis. The client gets what comes out of my mouth, because they're my script, and I've got it all in my head, what they've just been saying, but I need to say back to them, or what, you know, I mean, I'm scripted, as Bob Burns says, I'm scripted, so I know my stuff, but I don't follow a uniform thing.
Yeah, until we get more practice, you know, I need
But yeah, so this is another diagram I draw. Okay, so let me explain this. This is the barrel of life. You can either so sorry, Barbara, I'm answering you still, and I'm just going to go on and do this. This is the barrel of life. Okay, so I'm going to draw a little barrel, and I've got a little circle here. Now this stuff happens, and it's meant to flow out through there. All right, and however, do you know what? It doesn't. It gets blocked up. And that is our initial sensitizing event. And then there's an activating event. And then there's lots of other subsequent sensitizing events until eventually people are overflowing. Now I say to them, and it's my job, if I can get those two, the initial sensitizing event and the activating event, so that's like the two biggest bits of like constipated poo on the amygdala. If I can get those two, it unblocks that and the rest come down like dominoes. And then I go, now let me explain what I mean. So you have, say, a little girl and she's playing on a rug and there's a black widow spider there. So say she's 3 years old, 4 years old, and there's a black widow spider there. The mother sees it and she scoops up her little child and she says, don't touch that, it'll kill you. Okay. So of course she would probably say that because she's terrified. Now, the little girl has gone like that. All right. So that's the initial sensitizing event. And then say 3 or 4 months later, Big Brother comes in with a big hairy spider, and it could even be a plastic one. Starts chasing his little sister around. She's screaming. That is the activating event. And then after that, all subsequent sensitizing events, all subsequent spiders, funnily enough, will freak her out. Yeah, they're all going to kill her. Does that make sense? That is how a phobia or a fear can be set up. Same with a dog. Oh, and then guess what? I had this in England, right? The parents were coming in, she's scared of dogs. And I said, what happened when the very first time the dog just came to, there wasn't even that much, but the parents reacted. So you got a little girl, okay, little tots, little children, they're small, right? A dog comes right up to her face, parents yank her up, dad puts the little girl on his shoulders. Then I quite like being on daddy's shoulders. Oh, daddy, there's another doggy. Every time they go to the park, goes on daddy's shoulders. They're coming to me. She's 7, 8 years old. She's a bit big to get on daddy's shoulders now. And I'm saying, well, stop it. I just said, which of course we all know there's that funny story of stop. But I did actually have to say to the, stop it. I did get rid. Unfortunately, at that time, I had my beautiful working Cocker Spaniel Sky, and she was able to come in, and the little girl was fine after that. And then I think they got a puppy. But I did some other stuff with the little girl, and she was fine. But the parents stop feeding this secondary gain. You just got to, you've got to go welcome. Oh, aren't dogs lovely? Because children, they copy. Monkey see, monkey do. Children are literally, they will copy. And if there is a secondary gain, like children sometimes wet their beds, because when they wet their bed, it's really nice to get into a nice, warm, cozy bed with mummy because they've let them. And it's very hard because sometimes, sorry, mummy, you have to get up, strip the bed and make the bed again and put the child back in their bed. Oh, you see? Or let them sleep all night in the wet bed. I won't do that again. It sounds really cruel, doesn't it? But there you go. It's like, yeah, find out what the secondary gain is. Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions on that? I mean, it is mean, but it's like, just stop it. So, what I like to, and then I will draw this one. So I go, so again, so say that represents our brain. All right. I mean, I've just drawn a little circle. I go, and it's like the path well trod. It's a bit like the forest. Has anybody heard the forest one when you explaining that? And you've got this, like, I don't know, what is it? I'm not good enough. Oh yeah, that's another one. I'm not good enough. I'm rubbish. I can't do this. I can't do things. So these are the negative thoughts, say, that so many people come to us for, yeah, negative thoughts. And you've got this running through the head. Well, now they've made that pattern. That's where they go to all the time. That's the first thing. Then that becomes, do you remember I said we becomes our beliefs and our values? We go to our lazy default of I'm not good enough, I'm not whatever. And that can become a belief. And then I hold this up, and then I say to them, what is that word inside belief? Lie. I underline lie. And I go, yep, I lie. You tell yourself little stories. So what you've been doing is you've been hypnotizing yourself with this false story, because we all create little stories in our heads, been saying whatever their story is, because they've come to you with something, and you use that and you go, and that's your belief. I said, I've got to dehypnotize you. And then we create a new belief. And I say, and you will be doing that at the end of even this first session in hypnosis. And that script is, and if anybody, because I've trained this to therapists who don't do hypnosis, all they have to do is just read it to a child. Children, teenagers, they go into hypnosis just like that.
So when you say that becomes your belief, you then say we're going to change that belief, or?
Yeah, we're going to run a new movie through your head, because I don't know if any of you have read that last bit in the that I do in a session. In fact, we'll do it today so that you've all had some hypnosis at least with me today before we finish, so that you all know what it's like. Like I say, Barbara, every time I do the training, it will be slightly different, because I don't run to the manual. Okay.
Right, but all of the insight and all of the things that you throw in there and say are really, really helpful. So yeah. I collecting them and then go, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, and because somebody will be on here that says ask something different. So of course every training is going to be slightly different. I can't, and I want it to be, because that's right. What makes it more interesting and expands it. So yeah, I say, that belief. And I actually got this from Beryl Comer as well, that bit. I got actually that bit from Hans, from who does Omni training. I thought that was really cool. Like I say, I will, it's integrative. Mixy blobby. There you go. So any questions on that? No. Yeah, Barbara.
So after you explain about the barrel and the ISC and AE and SSC, then you go right into the brain diagram and how we develop beliefs.
Yeah, you can do it whichever way you want, but do all the diagrams. Okay, you can do this one before the circles or after the circles. Right. Yeah, it's your choice. It just depends on the client, or even my memory, or whatever it is. Which way I want to do it. Sometimes they will have just said something which makes me want to do that. You see, they've asked a question. I go and then I want to show them. So as long as you do them. So what I'm going to do now, because I actually want to do the bunny talk process on you, on Deborah. I'm going to do it on you, okay? Because it's important, because as your Gris has seen it, Barbara, if you've seen it, you will be doing it again tomorrow. You're going to be doing it all on each other. We'll see who joins us. We might not even do breakout rooms because there's not so many of us at all. So we'll all be just watching each other doing it, and I will be helping everybody along. But I need you to know what it's like, and to have felt it. And then you know, we'll be tidying, you know, any more questions as we're going along. And then we'll have another quick break, or even a break now before we start this. And I'll do some hypnosis on everybody before the end of the night. And does anybody need the toilet? Everybody okay? Everybody fine? Okay, so we don't need a break. So I would like, so it's like, hello, Deborah. So now the idea is that I am going to set up some anchors, and oh, I don't think I explained my daughter's story, did I? Didn't say that, did I? I haven't said that. Right, I'll say that first. So how did the bunny talk come about? Who remembers shadow puppets? Okay. When my daughter was little, my husband was away a lot. Okay, he was in the Royal Navy. He would be away sometimes 10 months at a time. And she would get into bed with me in the morning, and we would just play. And I taught her shadow puppets. She particularly liked the little bunnies, and she was so sweet. And we started doing this mummy bunny and baby bunny thing, and we'd be into bed and we'd be like, mummy bunny, you know, hello. And then I was like, and with the best will in the world, as adults, we love to play, but we can also get a bit bored. So I started teaching her the days of the week, months of the year, because I thought, well, I'm going to just do something with this. Simple maths and all sorts of stuff as we went on and on and on. Okay. And we did it for years and years and years, because she just really loved it. And it became our little thing. You know, she'd go to school and I go, bye, you know, that sort of thing. Anyway, we roll on. We moved to America. She's nearly 13. And then, of course, shortly after that, there's COVID. Okay. And in America, they didn't have school for 2 years. She was online and left with her thoughts a lot. And it was horrible. And she started self-harming. Okay. And I didn't know, first of all, because it was her legs. And it was, and sometimes she would use a steak knife. Okay. And she did come through once or twice. And I was like, you know, I didn't react though. All right. I just went, okay. And it was just like, let's put some balm on them, and would just hold, and she just wouldn't talk to me. And then one night, it was New Year's Eve, 3 o'clock in the morning. She came through to my room sobbing. All right. Now, if you've had children and they sob, so this was a scary sob. Okay. It was a scary one. I got out of bed, got into bed with her, held her. Can you tell me what it is? And then don't ask me what made me do it. I got Mummy Bunny out. And she got a baby bunny out with her little ears down. And then she told Mummy Bunny what had happened to her. Now, because I do what I do, and I was able to go, okay, I'm not going to start saying, why didn't you tell me? All right, because that's what so many parents often do. I just went, it was like, okay, what do you, I mean, I'm still freaking playing bunnies, all right? It was like, just crazy. But that was what she had used to tell me. So I knew she had dissociated it out, and she could tell Mummy Bunny. And we figured it out. And I left her in control of it. What did she want to do? All right. How did she want to handle it? And then we continued the conversation a bit later on afterwards. But by 5 o'clock in the morning, she said to me, I'm okay now, you can go. Now, I as I say, I was able to help her after that. We figured it out, and she stopped self-harming, and she wrote poetry instead. And we got in touch with family members and what have you of what had happened. So anyway, as I say, we figured it out. Now, I was telling Cheryl Elman this. Has anybody heard of Sleep Talk? So I'm a sleep talk consultant as well. Yeah. And I was telling, as I was training in this, which funnily enough is something I wanted to train when I was way back in England when she was little, but I couldn't afford it because it was really expensive. When you're in England, you don't charge much for your sessions, and it would have cost, oh my God, it would like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months to pay it. I'm in America now, and it's like, that was like 3 sessions. I can pay it. Isn't that crazy? So I was able to do the sleep talk training. Anyway, I was telling Cheryl Elman this, like 10 years too late. I was telling her what had happened to my daughter, and this is what I did with the bunny talk. And she said, oh, you've got to do something with that, Claudia. So I did. I wrote my ebook, A Parent's Journey, and the bunny talk process. So I don't know who's read it. Has anybody read it yet? Nope, get it. It's only $2.99. The link is all over in the Facebook. It's $2.99. All right. And you may think, why is it only $2.99? Because it's got the whole process in there for parents. It's also got of how parents can tell their children a little story about the child without reading them, without having a book, because this is what I used to do with my daughter. I did it $2.99 because I want every parent in the world to be doing the bunny talk process with their child, so that they have this communication skill for when the child is a teenager, just like I did with my daughter. Because she has since told me, Mummy, from that, I've then since been able to tell you anything, because she knew that I didn't judge her. Because all that time ago, we had anchored in safety, love, and security. Unconditional love. Unconditional love, which is the biggest thing we can give to our children. And I had since said to her, because when we've done some of our walks now, if I've since said to her, if I ever get dementia, will you talk to me with the bunny? I may forget you, but I'll never forget the feeling of the bunny, because we have anchored it in so much. Now, this transcends generations. Transcends generations. Isn't that interesting? I've had one of our colleagues, he got in touch with me, he said, Claudia, I need to talk to you. I'm dying. And we did a video, actually, I've put it on my dementia one. He's dying. He has a lung disease. He's a doctor. And so he knows he's dying. He knows he's going to asphyxiate in about 3 to 5 years. He goes, but I really love my little 5-year-old granddaughter. And she knows there's something wrong. She thinks it's my heart. What do I do? How do I tell her? And I said to him, I said, you know what? Start anchoring in the bunny talk with her now. Start playing. And so he's got the book. Start playing. Start playing with her, bunnies. Because you will anchor in safety, love, and security, unconditional love with the bunnies. She'll know it's a bunny. And then when you pass on, because he will die, all right, we can't get away from this. He's also a hospice MD, so he knows about death, all right. I said, whenever she sees a bunny rabbit, she'll think of you. She'll think that's you coming to see her. He went, oh, I love that, right? Because we all know that about death, don't we? That when we lose somebody that we love, they come to us in a cardinal, a feather. They come to us in the dragonfly or the butterfly. They come and say hello, don't they? They come and say hi. So he really liked that. So that's what he's going to do. this bunny transcends generations. Now when I've had explaining this to people, and I think I had that on the call actually when I was doing it with Lawrence, there was about there was quite a few people who came to watch that. One of the ladies on it, she goes, I use puppets. And I go, lovely, puppets are great. I have puppets as well. When we do the toys bit of it, I have some puppets. I said, but sometimes puppets, you don't have them with you all the time. You might not have them in a hospital. You might not have it in the car. You might not have the puppet. But you generally have your hand, because we do, don't we? Unless you've been caught for stealing in the Arabian countries. So then they might chop your hand off. But we generally have our hands. You can't get rid of that anchor. It's always there. So do you see, puppets are great, nothing wrong with, but I love it. I love puppets. Again, it's a way to dissociate. I sometimes use puppets, not a problem. But let's have that as well. Does that make sense? So that's why the buddy talk process, that's how it came about, which I then spoke about just my ebook at Hypnothoughts Live. And I had 2 colleagues come up and say to me, you're going to make it into a course. And I said, well, it's just shadow puppets. And they go, oh, well, great. If you don't, I will. Well, no, it's my story. So I did. And I thought, well, hang on, I see children. Oh, I draw around the bodies. I do this, I do that. I do my emotional intelligence with my clients. Oh, I do that with my parents anyway, when I see that. And I just brought it all together. So it was very easy because it's just how I work. And instead of me doing like eye move, I just did the bunny eye movements. And then it's like bunny takes it away. And then also bunny gives it back. And those 2 things were developed from people as I've been training it. And it's like, and anchoring it in at the same time as we're doing a good word. So this whole thing, and like with the ice cream, this whole the bunny talk, that's why I say every time it might be slightly different as I train it, because I'm going to learn something else from one of our practitioners. So it's evolving all the time, and you just got to love it, really, because and as I was saying to Beryl Comer, I said, because she does EFT a lot, I said we could do bunny EFT. Even though I feel scared, I choose to feel brave. Even though I feel brave, so you could there's so many different things we could do with it. Isn't it cool? So you got to love it. So yeah, and as I said, I did have that bit taking it out, but I didn't have that bit the bunny gives it. So now we're going to do it. Does anybody need the bathroom now before I do this on Deborah? Yes, as your Gris does. Okay, so I'm going to put it on pause. Everybody go grab a drink. Everybody just go to the toilet. Just shake yourselves off. I'll put it on pause. So something I want everybody to understand as well, and this is that I don't want anybody to get stuck on the whole thing of I've got to do it right. There is just do it. You will see me make so many, I don't know, they're not necessarily mistakes, but just doing stuff. And it's okay. Sometimes I will miss a bit out here and there, and when I'm with a client, and then I go, well, I think, oh, I forgot to ask them that bit. And I just add it in. It doesn't matter. You can't do it. You just can't do it wrong. Okay. So you can only just keep doing it right. There's a little story, and I got this from Bob Burns. Who knows Bob Burns? Anyway, he said to me, and I love this, all right? Once upon a time, Goldilocks, and she went into this little house, and there were 3 bowls of cornflakes, and she started eating one lot of cornflakes, and they were too soggy. And then she started eating another one, and they were too dry. And then she started eating the last little bowl, and it was just right. Now, you all tell me what's wrong with that story. I said cornflakes, not porridge, right? But you know what? If you'd never heard the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears and you didn't know it was porridge, you wouldn't know if it was right or wrong, would you? When you're with your client, they won't know if something's right or wrong. There is no wrong. It's just the way you're doing it at that point in time. Okay? And you're just doing it. So let me get my things together. I have quite like my little bag, my little silver bag. So I like to be a little bit glitzy. And I think in the manual, I'm sure I did, I said a ruler. And I've got my ruler. I have some crayons or felt tips, okay? I have even got myself, now in where I live, there's a lot of kids drawing on pavements and things with those big chalks. So I've got myself a big load of chalks. And oh my goodness, right here. It's a big load of chalks. And they're pretty cool because if you are doing this in person, and I will be showing you all my stuff, I'll probably do that more tomorrow because I've got reams and reams of things to show you. Plus you'll see them actually on the Facebook group, Deborah. The chalk goes really well over felt tip. So as they're making the change work, it's like pretty cool. And you'll see that on the diagrams. Like I say, I take pictures a lot of, and you've seen them, haven't you, Barbara? The pictures that I've done on Facebook.
Yeah, I've seen most of them. I didn't realize, I couldn't tell what was what, so it didn't occur to me that there was chalk over the.
Oh, it's chalk. Yeah. So you know. Okay. Yeah. So as I'm doing this, I'll show you those tomorrow. But first of all, so we all know that I've just been speaking about anchors. Okay, so I'm going to pretend now that you are my my client, Deborah. Okay, and so I'm going to say, you know, hello, lovely to meet you. And so now I understand you're here today, and because now, is there actually something that you would like to work on, Deborah, out of interest? Oh, on mute. Hang on.
Yeah, I was sitting before trying to think of something. I've got a small thing, but yeah, probably just within
right.
I've got small thing with a daughter-in-law. So
okay. So, but I don't need to hear what it is. I want everybody to see how content-free this can be. This is the beauty of it, is that actually, because we know that sometimes, well, people don't even know what it is, but they just know it's a feeling. But or teenagers, they don't like to talk about it. Like my daughter hadn't, right? And she still really didn't know much about it at all. And little ones really don't, all right? They don't say, because they just don't want to get into trouble. They think they'll get into trouble somehow. Now, or it's just an overwhelming sense. So what I'm going to say, I'm just going to explain this to you. So Deborah, I'm going to be, say, pretending as though you're a little person, all right? Because, so, do you know what? Oh, hang on, do you know what, as well? In our manual, we have that sheet of how to get to know people. All right, it's got that. It's got a whole load of little circles. Hang on, let me just get mine out to show you.
I got it.
You got it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I see you, I would like to, and it's also got my video, it's got a couple of videos of me working with children on the Facebook group as well, Deborah. So Deborah, first of all, I would like to get to know you a little bit better. So I'm just going to ask you some fun questions. Is that all right?
Yep.
So if I was to ask you this question, and the question is, what's your favorite drink? What's your favorite drink to drink? What will you answer me?
Water.
Water. Lions drink water. There we go. And so we're always making it fun. All right. Also, when I know we're online, when you see your little people, out of interest, your very little people, I only see my really little people in person. I don't see them online. The youngest I think I've seen online is about 12, because they're used to it from school. Oh, they were from COVID. Now, so when I've got my little people in, they take their shoes off and I take my shoes off. If the parent's still there, they leave theirs on. So it's quite interesting. I'm now like the child. Yeah. If you have I'll come through to this a bit more when we're doing adults as well. But now I've asked you that, water. Okay, what's your favorite food to eat?
Favorite food. I have favorite food. Let me think. I'll say Caesar salad.
Okay, and I like Caesar salad. Color. What's your favorite color?
Black.
Black. And yeah, black goes with everything, doesn't it? So you're always trying to say something. All right. And what's your favorite animal?
Oh, that would be a oh my gosh, I forgot what it's called. Thing in Australia, rivers, little thing. Oh
a platypus.
Platypus, thank you.
Because that's where I went if I was in Australia. Those little and the beaks, yeah. A platypus. Are they cute? Are they really soft and cute?
Oh, they're so cute. Yeah, just up down the road from me, they've got one of the biggest platypus breeding programs. So I see them.
Oh, wonderful! Oh, how cute. Okay, if what's your favorite place?
That would be a place called the Grampians in Australia.
And is there a particular sport you like?
Horse riding.
Horse riding, of course. Yes, you'd already told me that. And we're finding a lot out about the child. Now, this is in there. When you have a teenager, a lot of them will say that their favorite place is their bedroom. So it's quite interesting. You know, we're learning a lot then. I'm learning a lot about you. I do always ask, I said, and your friend, who are your friends?
I've got probably, do you want to know how many or?
Yeah, well, they go, you get a little child, they'll go, there's
they'll give names,
three, you know, and they'll just start listing them off.
Yeah, I've got Janie, Kerry, Adam, Shane.
And sometimes we have children who go, I don't have any, or they're online friends. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we ask about, and there's all these other things in here. All right. This was really interesting. So I had a 15-year-old. He was 15 going on 8. All right. And he was the size of an 8-year-old because he didn't want to eat, because he didn't want to grow up. Now, that was my theory, that he didn't want to grow up. Because when you grow up, you get sent, like his big sister did, to Utah, in a mental hospital, because she tried to kill herself. When you grow up, you end up having adult problems, because I found out from him that his parents were worried about, always talking about money and the stresses of this and stresses of that. He didn't want to grow up. And it was quite interesting, because when I did this intake form with him, I asked him what was his favorite game. Now he's 15. He said hide and seek. Okay. What film do you like? Cars 2, the Disney film. That isn't what 15-year-olds like to do. Can you see? And he was literally almost, because he knew that in order to because people have been saying to you, you need to eat so that you grow. You didn't want to grow. So I had to say, so I actually said to the parents, can you start saying it's fun to adult? It's fun being a grown, we get to do this. We get to, you know, kind of build that into the conversation that he overhears. And don't let him hear what's going on about his sister. Interesting, isn't it? Can you see? The child is often not the problem. It's the parents. A lot of the time. Okay. So when we're asking these questions, we're finding out a lot. Now, my next question I'd like to ask you is what's if you, so I always end up with this one. There's lots on here, but I do ask them all because I want to know if the child can answer me. I've also then know how compliant they're going to be. I know how bright they are, because if they can, how engaged they are. We're learning a lot. We're just asking these fun questions. Does that make sense? So that's why we start with that with a child. So I'm then going to ask you, and if you had a magic power, what would it be?
Be invisible.
Yes. Okay. And that is interesting. You'll get most teenagers saying invisible. A lot of them want to ask, will also say, knowing, mind reading.
Reading, yeah.
Because they want to know what other people are thinking about them. Yeah. So interesting, isn't it? So I kind of leave that one. And then this last one I ask is, if you had a wish, what would that wish be?
These are actually quite challenging questions for an adult, never mind about a kid. If you had a wish. Oh, permanently be on holiday.
There you go. All right. You are. You're in Australia. So am I. I'm not being funny, Deborah. We're from England. You are permanent. If you live in Australia, you're permanent, and so am I. Because
That's right. We still feel like that 15 years later, 16, 17, whatever it is. Every day we say we're like on holidays. It's funny I'm saying that. Yeah.
You are. So am I. I literally said, I know, Barbara, you might laugh at us saying that, but it's true, because we're in America, you know, we're in a different country. We're not in our country. Permanently on holiday. I love it. Okay. So now I've asked those questions. So then I will go on to, so do you know what? Now, I know you've come in to me for something. So let me just explain for this thing that's going on. They may know, you know, and if I may have asked them as well at the beginning, you know, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want to change today? Is a really nice question to ask a child. What would you like to change today? So say if I don't want to be so sad, all right, or whatever it is. But anyway, for you, I'm asking you. So I'm going to explain to you about so now let me explain something. So this is a very special part of our brain. This is like a very special part in our brain. And it's always looking after us. It's going fight, flight, freeze, fight, flight, freeze. And sometimes, you know what, something not very nice happens. And we can go, whoa, like that. And then something sticks on here. It's like a big blob of poo. And then it starts to ooze and it goes into sloppy poo. Well, I don't want that on my brain. Do you want that on your brain? Ooh, no. Well, how would it be if we got rid of that poo? Well, does that sound good? Yes. Okay. So you're getting, yes, they don't want poo. I will just say this as well. If you have a teenager, oh, I had this the other day, actually. Teenager did not want to be there. You could just tell his mum had dragged him. All right. I only worked with him once because I just thought, you know, this is poor kid. All right. But she'd prepaid, she'd done it, and I could help him. He was wet in his bed. And literally, so that he didn't have to come and see me again, we sorted it out. And you know what? He was just lazy. He just didn't go to the toilet before he went to sleep at night. I mean, it was just so we just had him doing that over and over. This is what you're going to do. I mean, it was just like, oh my goodness. Anyway, so I said to him, I said to you don't want to be here, do you? And he went, no. So I went, I know I can, it was just like, so I agreed with him, you don't, and it was like, so I was right because he didn't want to be here. Does that make sense? So we come to where they're at because you can tell they either do or they don't. He really didn't. So poor thing. So I'm explaining to you, Deborah. So we've got a little bit of poo on here. Would it be a good idea if we got rid of that poo? Would you like that? Yeah. Good. All right. So we're going to do that. But first of all, I want to know, did you ever play shadow puppets? Did you ever do this?
Yeah.
So how about we put some magic in your hands? Would you like some magic in your hands? Some magic in your fingers? Have you ever watched Harry Potter?
Many times.
Many times. Well, do you remember when Harry would conjure up his dad like the Patronus charm, and his dad would come appear like the stag?
Yeah.
Well, that is what this is going to be like, having magic in your fingers. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah. Sounds great.
Okay. If your child's never watched Harry Potter, we don't mention it. And you may have found out from this because we've asked about books and characters and films. All right, movies. So you'll know. All right. If they okay, so what we're going to do, and now I'm going to set up some anchors. All right. And this is what, as we practice, this is what you'll all be doing with each other, setting up some anchors. Now, so I know I've already trained as your Grace and Barbara in this. Deborah, have you done NLP?
Yeah.
So you know how to, an anchor.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to set up one of each. All right. I usually set up 5 with my clients. I usually set up 2 calm, 2 when they felt, yes, really proud of themselves, and 1 when they were laughing their heads off that they nearly want to pee themselves, all right, or got bellyache. If I've got a real giggly kid, I'll set up more of those than the calm, all right, because children don't really understand what calm is and relaxed, but they do know laughing and giggling. Okay, you've got to, just as long as you're setting up 5 anchors with them, all right, but I'm just going to do 3 with you just for the sake of time. So Deborah, can you tell me a time when you felt really relaxed and just really calm?
You want the specifics of it? Yeah.
Just a little bit, just so that I can remind you.
Yeah, on the beach, reading a book.
Okay, nice. Okay. And can you tell me a time when you went, yes, you were really proud of yourself, an achievement, something you'd achieved?
Yeah, when I actually got a job in the UK, which I'd tried so hard to get, and then I got it, which I was the first person to get it who had children, because I didn't normally employ people with children. So yeah, I was literally jumping off the settee when I got that job.
Okay, that one. Okay. So now I want a time when you were laughing your head off so much that you nearly wet your knickers.
Oh gosh. Well, there was an incident just yesterday, actually. My son, we've given him what's it called, a chimalia, the chimney things with the barbecue things.
Yeah, a chimney, yeah.
And he took the top off and he called me outside, and he was sitting on it like it was a toilet. He had his trousers down and he was sitting on top of the chimalia as if it was a toilet. That I just, yeah. And he had a book. It was outside in the garden. And he had a book too. It was very funny. It's a bit like that.
Okay, that's hilarious. Okay, so now we've got those. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is to close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to go back to that remember time on the beach. You know which beach it is. You know the sounds. You know if you're on your own or if it's a busy beach, and you know the book. What type of book you like to read. You know that sense of the sun on your skin and the sounds around you and the smell in the air, the saltiness in the air. And when you have that feeling as though it's happening right here and now, I want you to squeeze your finger and thumb together as though it's happening right here and now. Squeeze that in, power that wonderful feeling of calm, relaxation into your finger and thumb. That's right. Really good. Really good. And now clear the image, open your eyes, relax your finger and thumb. And can you smell raspberries? So we do that after each time we have break state. Okay. And then, so, okay. And sometimes I find I have to tell a client I'm going to be doing daft stuff. All right. Because it's like they'll wonder what on earth I'm doing sometimes. So, and now close your eyes again, close your eyes. And I want you to go back to that remembered time. You know it. You're in the UK and you got this job. You're the first person to get this job and you have children. And you know that. You'd literally go, yes. And you leapt off the sofa. You were so proud of yourself. Yes, yes. And power that into your finger and thumb as though it's happening right here and now. That really wonderful feeling as though it's happening right here and now. That's it. Really good. Really good. Well done. Power that in, that wonderful feeling. And now clear the image, open your eyes, relax your finger and thumb. And maybe you can smell platypuses. Do they smell? What do they smell of? And then and I'm not even going to ask you, Barbara, what a crocodile, an alligator smells like. I don't want to know. Okay, now close your eyes, and I want you to go back to that. Remember time just yesterday. You bought your son a chimenea, and he was sitting on it with a book, so he's on the toilet. And just and you know how daft he is, and I'll power that feeling in, that funny laughter, that wonderful feeling, because you said he's a bit like that, so he's obviously doing lots of silly things like that all the time. You know how he makes you laugh. Power that wonderful feeling in. And now clear the image, open your eyes, relax your finger and thumb. And yeah, I'm glad he didn't break it. What would it be?
It's solid cast iron, so he can't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was very funny.
I bet. Okay, so then we've set up some anchors with our child. Now, I want everybody to understand that if you forget to set up anchors, it doesn't matter, because you will just set them up afterwards. Because when you've done the bunny talk process, which I'm about to do soon with Deborah, and you'll see me then anchoring the good feeling in, it's fine. That might be the first anchor they've got. Then afterwards, you just go, now we're going to put some more magic in your hands at the end of the session. Does that make sense? Do not I don't want anybody getting wrapped up in, I didn't do it in order. Okay? You will see me doing things in different orders, as I already have done, Barbara. It's like which diagram, it doesn't matter. Do you see? Just like if you'd heard the story of Goldilocks, Deborah didn't know which order they went in. It's the first time she's done this. You see what I mean? Or if there is an order, there isn't an order. There is a little bit, like I do the hands one first, and then I do the triangles, and then or sometimes I do this one before I do the triangles. But do you know what? It depends on my client. Depends what they've suddenly said that I think, oh, they need this diagram now. Does that make sense? So it's I really want people to understand, you just cannot necessarily do it overly right or overly wrong. You just do it. Okay. So because there's nothing worse than because that's when it stops people using it, when they think they're not doing it right. And it's such a fantastic process. So go back to Deborah being my client. So now, Deborah, because we're online, what I'd like you to do is, now we know we've got this thing, we know we've got this bits of poo on here, and we want to get rid of them. Isn't that right? Okay, so great. So would you mind, on a piece of paper, can you draw me like an outline of yourself, like a gingerbread man? Now we have to say gingerbread person nowadays, but you know, anyway. I don't. I will get into trouble.
Gingerbread cookie.
There you go. Gingerbread cookie. So it can't be a person at all. Okay, so can I see your, and actually I better see yours. Can I see your what you've drawn? Oh, okay. Sorry. I know. And I shouldn't laugh, but I can't help it. All right, I'm awful. So I'm English. So somebody does it so funny. I mean, it looks like an octopus. That it's like, But anyway, so we've got your person. So what I'd like you to do now, so I shouldn't have shown you mine at all, actually. But anyway, what I'd like to see now, Deborah, you know, you've drawn your person. You've just shown me your person. Have you got any colorings there? Any?
Yep, somewhere. Where did I put them? Yes, I do.
Yeah, and that's exactly the kind of thing I'm like. Oh, where's this? Oh, where's that? And I want my child or my young person or adult online or even in person to go, yeah, she's, because I'm a little bit scattery, but so are most of our clients. Yeah. Right. And a lot of kids that we will see have got ADHD. And if you haven't noticed, so have I, which is why which is why I leap about all over the place. But that's okay, because most of our clients will do that. Okay. So when I'm training you, I need to keep up. Now, so you've got that you've got your gingerbread person. You've got your you, that's like you, okay, on that paper. Can you colour in where that poo is? Do you know where it is in your body? And I just want you to choose which colour it is.
Do I just do a shape or just, doesn't matter, whatever?
Right. Now this is the brilliant bit. You do, yeah, this is when our clients are just doing it. Okay. So it's like, yes. And this is then as the, oh, look, I could put these on. Okay. And I often get my children, they wear my bunny ears, or my adults wear bunny ears while they're doing the whole process. Okay. So yeah, you can't, again, because it's your shape, it's your feeling around that. Can you show me what you've drawn, Deborah? Okay. So now I'm going to draw that in the same kind of color and the shape that you've done it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that was how you did it. Because as you see, because you'll see on my, when you go on the, on the Facebook group, all the wonderful and weird things that people do on their body. You, as I say, it's theirs. And it's all got different shapes and different whatevers. So you've drawn it red. So what does that mean to, what does that mean to you, that red? And whereabouts is that in particularly in your body?
So it's like on the heart area, and it's like messy, confusion, and sad as well, actually.
Messy, confusion, sad. And then can you write those words on there? Messy, confusion, sad. And is it because I get my people to draw their words on their body, okay? And is it so they're fully associating into it, okay? And is it heavy? Is it, you've said it's messy, so heavy. Is it heavy? Okay, so can you write heavy down? But often I would have said, is it heavy, light? Is it tingly?
No.
Is it got a smell?
No.
Has it got a sound?
No. Just a heavy feeling.
Just a heavy feeling. So what emotions have we got attached to that? You said confusion and sad. Is there anything else?
Sad, disappointment. I don't know if that's just disappointing.
Okay, yeah, okay, disappointing. And if you could scale it, so I've got a ruler here, so 0 being nothing and 12 being the worst, where are you with that messy, confusion, sad, disappointing? Where are you?
A 7, I would say.
A 7. Okay. So what I'd like you to do now, and because I can't see what your feet are doing, can you have your feet firmly flat, because that was flat on the floor. Oh my gosh, your feet flat. Sorry. Your feet, I haven't been drinking. Your feet flat on the floor.
Yeah, they are.
And your hands on your lap. So, and then, okay. Got the giggles now. It's terrible, isn't it? And I will often do that sometimes with the client. And do you know what? You've probably already got rid of the thing because you've been laughing. I mean, I'm not being funny, but laughter is just seriously the best medicine out. Okay. But it's like, you can tell we're English, can't you, Barbara? Because we just laugh at really silly things. And we found that really silly. You see, there we go. Oh, my ears. All right, there we go.
Laughter actually is the best medicine.
I know. Sorry,
I was wondering what you had on your head, because it wasn't ears, it was this blob. I thought, what did she put on her head? And then I realized it was the bunny ears, but they were squished together.
It was squished together. Now they're separated. Okay, so hands nice and flat on you. On
my legs.
On your legs. Okay, right. Anyway,
you do realize you're anchoring yourself now, right? And every time you do this.
Okay, but the trainings are meant to be fun, because the thing is, like, as you've just said, we're anchoring ourselves into this. We're anchoring ourselves into the whole process, because it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be light. It's meant to be, and it's change work. All right. So, and you'll never forget to say to somebody to have your feet on the floor. Because, and I'll tell you the reason why, okay, is because actually, if underneath they've got their legs crossed. Now, when people have got their legs crossed, and if you're like that, and I might not be able to see that, but that means you've got your armor on. Yeah. So if they're in my office and they're on my floor, they're vulnerable. I want you to be vulnerable. Sounds really awful, doesn't it? But I want you to be vulnerable. Okay. So again, that's why sometimes I have the adults wearing the ears. Yeah. Because, and they choose to, but suddenly they're age regressing. They're regressing. If they're using crayons and even felt tips, and they're drawing, and they've drawn the body, and we're on the floor, they're taking their shoes off. How old are they now? The adult is no longer an adult. They're a child. It's called eyes open age regression. Isn't that cool? So that's when we're doing inner child work. But so anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. Are you ready? Hands nice and flat.
Yep.
And just follow my bunny fingers all the way over to the left and all the way over to the right. Just keeping your head still and moving your eyeballs all the way over to the left and all the way over to the right. All the way to the left and all the way to the right. That's it. Good job. Well done. Well done. Really good. And let it go. Shake it off like a dog does. Let it go. 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 Really good. Excellent. Excellent. Good job. Well done. Really good. Really good. Really good. And Bunny's got it. Deep breath in through the nose and out. And what's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate mint chip.
Oh, so is mine. Chocolate mint.
Licorice, like the licorice one too.
Oh, yeah, that would sound nice. Yeah. And how's your body feeling now? How's that messy, heart, disappointed, confusion feeling now?
It's actually hard to find, actually.
Yeah, is it? Where would you be on your scale now? Got it right in the right way. 0 being nothing, 12 the worst. Where are you now? You said it was sad as well. Disappointing. Where is it?
Yeah, it's not sad. Probably about 3.
Okay.
About 3.
3. Okay, great. So I'm going to do it again. Keep following my fingers. And I'm going to do a figure of 8 now. And I say this, especially if I'm online, because they might wonder what I'm doing. So I'm just doing a figure of 8 and allow your wonderful unconscious mind to take the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding from that feeling so that you can process it in a way that is safe and right for you, and putting it in the right place in your brain so that it never needs to bother you again. Good job. Well done. That's it. Really good. Well done. Taking the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding so that you can process it in a way that is safe and right for you. Good job. Well done. Excellent. Excellent. Really good. Really good. Well done. Well done. Good job. I've got it. Deep breath in through your nose and out. And have you climbed the Sydney Bridge? What do they call it? The Sydney Harbour Bridge?
Yeah, yes, I have actually. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Yeah, my in-laws have. I've got family in Melbourne and Sydney.
Oh, nice.
I'm really good friends in Perth and the Gold Coast. So, how's your body feeling now?
Not much is happening actually.
And
I wouldn't say the word's neutral. There's nothing really happening. Yeah.
So where are you on your scale now?
1. It'll be 1. There's 0 even, if that's even possible. 0,
yeah,
1.
Yeah, 0, 1. Okay, great. Okay, as I was doing that, did you come in with a positive word or a positive feeling?
Yeah, a few sentences were coming in, and not feelings, but the when you were saying wisdom and what you've learned, there were certain things going through my mind. Yeah.
Okay, are you okay to share those with us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was around it's okay, that it's their time to establish their life.
Okay, so it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, when I was younger, I did the same, you know.
Lovely. Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, can you change that there on your, can you change that now with your pens, please? It's okay. Yeah. Can I see it? Can I see how you've done it? Oh, lovely. Okay, so we've got a really so tell me, so you know, out of interest, before you had it was heavy and it was messy. What's that like now?
Well, the only thing that's coming to mind is it just is what it is.
Can you write that on there? Can you write that, change the words out? So when I'm asking somebody to do this, they're now owning it. They're owning the change. Okay. And I get a lot of people, as I say, that's why the chalk is so cool, because they're crossing it out and they're changing it like that.
So do they draw over the top of the chalk then, or?
Yeah, okay. The chalk will draw over the stuff, or just felt tip. You'll see all sorts on the diagrams that I've got. I mean, there's reams of them. All right. I don't always get to, you know, I do everybody's, but I do a lot. You know, the more interesting ones, because some of them are quite boring. So it's like, I think you're not really gonna, you know, gain much from that. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now, Deborah, is to use your anchor, and I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna say this, you run it through your head. It's okay, but keep your anchor. Okay, it's okay. 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 It is what it is. It's okay. It's okay. It is what it is. It's okay. When he gives you it's okay, and then you can relax your finger and thumb. At some point, I'm probably do another whole thing about collapsing anchors, because you can do that as well. There's so many different things we can do with this. It's so cool. But I don't generally, that's not really in the Bunny Talk process, but it could be. Okay. So Bunny gives you it's okay. Then what I would like you to do, Deborah, I'd like you to look up at a point on the, wherever you are, just above your head, and try and feel the feeling you used to feel.
Yeah.
Is it? No?
No.
Okay, brilliant. Okay. So let me explain, as you'd said, is it even possible? So this is, as I explain to sometimes clients, not all the time, but I do quite often, I go, these are like the traumas, if you like, the significant emotional events. That's your 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, even 7 out of 12, okay? And then we broke it down into rocks, which is your 6, 5, 4. And then we break it down into sand, which is your 3, 2, 1. And then I look at them and say, you come back from the beach, you've always got sand. It's always in your nether regions, or it's in your, between your toes. It's in your phone now, isn't it? So Barbara, you're on mute. I don't know if you're wanting to say anything. So you're on mute. You need to go on and mute. Oh yeah.
Right. This is I'm sorry. This is what this is one of the things I was going to ask you is when do you use the boxes? And I lost my box diagram, but I'll find it because I wasn't quite sure what to do with them.
Okay, now you know. So it's like, so it's just to explain, because if you've got people who can't move on, they're in 3, and I go, is that okay for you? And is that okay for you? Because, and then I draw this, because some people want to hold on to something because of the knowledge. They want it, and that's okay. Because as long as they've still come in with a positive word, like it wasn't my fault, you know, say if they'd been raped, wasn't my fault. But if we've got it down into sand, well, sand is only sand. Now, sometimes you do get it into 0. Absolutely. Okay. And when you have your clients suddenly start laughing as you're doing it, then you know they've processed it in that it's changed. Now, on Zoom, it's a little bit difficult to see people's eyes flickering. Okay. But you will notice that when you do this in person, you will notice their eyes going, making movements. And when they do that, you do this with your fingers, like scribbling it into each eyeball. They are making change. When a client is laughing and they suddenly start smiling, they've had the realization. And sometimes, especially if it's somebody that they don't really know very well, or it's some other kind of situation, then they can get down to 0. It's hard for people to get down to 0 if it's a family member. Seriously, because they're family, yeah? So 3, 2, 1 is pretty good. It's sand, and it may always be sand, because as I explained to a lot of my clients, what we're doing is, and I say, because I explain it, I said, it's like that big frog in your throat, that like that poo, right? Whenever they think about that poo, when they talk about that piece of poo, they get this in their say throat, or their heaviness in their chest, or their lead in their stomach, or whatever the words they've used, right? But I'll always explain it. It's like a big frog in your throat that comes up behind your eyes and makes you want to cry. Everybody knows that feeling, pretty much. All right. They haven't lived enough if they don't. But that feeling. And I say to them, I am not magic. I cannot take that whole feeling away. I can't take that whole frog away, but I can turn it back into frog spawn or a tadpole. And do you know what, guys? That is good enough. Because what we're doing is we're helping them to feel indifferent. Do you remember the letting go? I cannot take the whole thing away, but I can help you let it go. I'm helping you feel indifferent towards that thing, so that instead of going, ah, like that, you go, nah, nah, so what? So what? Yeah? And people are happy with that, because it's a hell of a lot better than doing that where their nervous system is so fraught, because that, when it's in distress, that can kill you. Okay. And that for a child keeps them hypervigilant, keeps them in a state of, in a horrible, scary place. That's why they have nightmares. It's why they can't sleep. It's then this, and then they get in trouble. They're acting out. They can't do anything. They can't eat, or can't this or that, or they're hurting themselves or hurting others. And bullying, by the way, actually is another one on that Lobie thing. Bullying, because bullying, hurt people. And if you have a child, if the parents are saying he's bullying, I get very curious. Hurt people. We know that. And a child will often bully others because they're being bullied somehow or other. And it doesn't have to be physical. It can just be mental. But they have to bring other people down so that they can feel better about themselves. And then it becomes a habit. You see, we are not our behaviors, we are our good intention. And we go back to this diagram again. You see, you do something for over 30 days, just like learning to drive. It became a habit, didn't it? Learning to drive. So that's why we are not our behaviors, but you do it for over 30 days, becomes a habit. Does that make sense? I haven't figured out how to do that diagram and that diagram together, so I still have to do them separately. If one of you can come up with a diagram that incorporates both, lovely. But I can't. I just refer to them both. Okay. No, I just don't think I could. It would be too big. But these two diagrams are phenomenal to explain to people, and that they all are. And you can keep going back to them and referring back to them, to the point where actually in my office, this is my office, I have this one drawn out just all the time. Because I'm always referring to the exiles in pain. So it's just drawn out. So before we do some hypnosis, is anybody, so just checking the work, Deborah, how do you feel? Yeah, isn't that amazing? Wasn't that quick? Now, did I hear the story? Was that content free? Cool, isn't it? So how quick is that? That was like half an hour. Then I do check it with the cuddly animals, but we'll probably do that tomorrow. But the reason why I check the work, and do you have any like little cuddly animals in your office?
Oh, I've got one here. I can go get another.
Yeah. and you could, and it's like, so I say to children, I have loads and loads of toys, all right, so many. And when I travel, I can only take my small ones. I can't take anything big. So I'll try and take little things. Like I got this one recently. Everybody sending me bunnies. So it's like I got I take little ones when I travel. So I got like little ones. So and I put them on the floor and I go, tell me a story. Tell me a story about the issue with the toys. And then sometimes, do you know what? You can't, because again, there is no right, and the client's doing it. It's their story. And they may even do it silently. And I'm going, how does that feel? And do you know what? If they come up with a feeling again, and it could be slight onion layer to that poo, yeah, because we know that there's onion layers of problems, then we'll do the eye movements again on that. Does that make sense? And then I'll say, now tell me a better story, or tell me a different story. And then they'll tell the story again, and they may have this like going on. Or they may have, I've got a plastic hammer, I've got a snake, a plastic one. I've got plastic spiders, and people will have all sorts of stuff and they'll tell different stories. The reason why I have a snake is because it's quite symbolic. As in, for some children, it can be a penis. For others, they love snakes, so it's something good. Like I say, it's whatever it is for them. Does that make sense?
Excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting. I just wanted to let you know that I need to help my mom with something, so I'm gonna be stepping out of the room.
Okay, well, we're finishing soon anyway. I'm just going to do some hypnosis. Okay, so that's absolutely fine as your Gris. Have you got any other questions on anything before you go? And I'll see you tomorrow at 6.
I don't think I have any questions right now. I like the refresher of, remembering the grass
Okay,
and all.
good.
Yeah.
Is it? Sorry, I've got to ask. What's that up in the sky? Is that where you live?
No, we're in a place because my mom is doing a sound bath,
Oh, I see.
or
Okay,
was doing a
gorgeous,
sound bath, and so I was just in a temporary place for the meantime.
okay, all right, no worries. See you tomorrow at 6.
All right, thank you.
Same code, everybody. Same meeting code. Just go on it again. All right.
Okay.
Bye. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is what I do with all of my clients. All right. And it's do you know what? If you're a therapist, then guess what it's called? A guided meditation. Okay. It's just or it's a story, or it's just close your eyes. If you're a hypnotist, guess what it is? It's hypnosis. it's all the same. Really. So any questions on I'm going to do the toys more tomorrow, because we're probably getting a bit, there's a lot of information, and it's like just let's just go like this. So a lot of the time you'll find me having I have loads and loads of little things in my office, but this is something that I use a lot, and I do encourage, actually, it's a good one to get. It's a snow globe, because it'll show people that this is what it's like when you're overwhelmed. Yeah. It's like, there's so much going on. And the idea of hypnosis, it helps bring you clarity, because you have less thoughts. And then you go back and then you can see. So it's just a really good little thing to explain. I would, just get one. This is so old. This is my daughter's from when I pinched it from, because I bought it for her, and then I thought, all I need is snow globes. I've been using it. Oh, is that where my snow globe went to, Mummy?
So you actually talk about that it's like a lot going on in your brain. That's what you're saying?
It is. It's like having so many thoughts. Well, we actually have 70,000. Well, so I heard from Larry Garrett, 70,000 thoughts a day. Thoughts, 70,000, 53,000 are negative. That's not very nice, is it? So I then go on and give my clients loads of techniques and strategies. I do my loads of metaphors. I give them breathing techniques. I give loads of things. That's all on the course. It's on the Facebook group, Becoming a Happier You. And I'm also be speaking on that at Hypnothoughts Live. I don't know if you're going, but it's on the Facebook group. There's a whole thing on there that is like a 2-hour me doing all the diagrams, just how I think there's clients on it of how I speak to client, of how I do it. And it's stories, but it's all on my YouTube channel as well. All right. I give so much stuff away because I can. And we're here to help people, right? Because this bit I can only do in my office. This bit, or I've been doing it in group, admittedly. But I think you'll probably be asleep when I do that. It's usually at 1 o'clock. And I don't record it because if somebody says something, you've been on it, Barbara.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So it's just, I just do it really quickly. It's just to show people how you can do it in group. So
that whole thing was on the Facebook page.
Yeah, I don't know what time that is in Melbourne, 1 p.m. our time. It's probably 1 a.m. your time. It's probably so.
We're usually either an hour. You're normally either an hour. Well, 11 hours in front of us. So it's either an hour either side, right? So the 10 or 11 hours. So it'll be early morning. It'll be like midnight, or it'll be like 2 in the morning, depending where the clocks and what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So it's just when
is your Hypnothoughts presentation?
When? I've got 2, Sunday and Saturday. Are you going?
Yes.
Sunday at 2 is my 2-hour presentation, and so I mean, they'll both be good fun because I am a bit scatty, so they're bound to be funny because I'll do something ridiculous. but yeah, there's lots of techniques and strategies I'll be doing, which will be very helpful actually. Okay, are you ready? All right. So anybody need the bathroom first? And I don't know if you can hear this. I'll put some music on. I don't know if you can hear it. I still haven't figured out how to run music through the on here. Oh, I've got 10% left to charge on here. Never mind. Okay. Can you hear this music? Can you hear that? Okay. Have we got time? Yeah, I'll do a nice relaxation. I'll do a full body because you probably all deserve it. You probably should now. It's like, oh my god, it's been really long time. So you can so that's right, and just taking a nice deep breath in now through your nose and out, and 3, 2, 1, close your eyes and just focus on the sound of my voice and your breath. That's right. Just allowing those eyes to feel comfortably closed now while you listen to the sound of my voice. Because the sound of my voice will help you, will help relax you as you just drift off now, deep, deep down into that wonderful place of relaxation. That place where you feel so safe, so calm, so deeply relaxed. And all the time, breathing in positive thoughts and breathing out any negative thoughts or feelings. They're not needed. They're not required. They're not wanted. That's right. And allow all the muscles in your head to relax. Just imagine each individual hair follicle relaxing down and the muscles around your eyes and your jaw. Any tension you're holding there in your jaw, just let that all relax. And while you're listening to the sound of my voice, if you hear any noises inside or outside, they won't bother you. You'll just know it's the sounds of other people going about their daily business. And that's fine, because you're here with me, feeling safe and calm, and allowing yourself to go deeper and deeper into that wonderful place of relaxation. That place where you feel so safe, so calm, so deeply relaxed. That's right. And allow all the muscles in your neck and your shoulders to relax. And your arms, and your forearms, and all the way down to the tips of your fingers. And while you're listening to the sound of my voice, you may get a slight tingling sensation, just like little prickles in your head or somewhere else in your body. And that's fine. It just means that you're allowing yourself to go deeper and deeper into that wonderful place of relaxation. Deeper and deeper relaxed. That's right. And allow all the muscles in your chest and your stomach to relax. And your back and your lower back. And while you're listening to the sound of my voice, if you need to shuffle about a bit or scratch your nose, that's fine. Do whatever you need to do in order to feel more and more comfortable, more and more at peace, more and more calm. That's right. And allow all the muscles in your buttocks to relax, and your thighs, and your calves, and all the way down to the tips of your toes. Just allowing your whole body now to go deeper and deeper into that wonderful place of relaxation. Deeper and deeper relaxed. That's right. And now you're feeling so comfortably relaxed. Nobody needing anything. Nobody wanting anything. And absolutely nothing whatsoever for you to do except to relax and listen to the sound of my voice. And now I'd like your wonderful mind and imagination to drift off to that magical, mystical place. that safe place of yours, whatever it is for you, that magical, mystical place where you can make positive lifestyle changes now. And now, while you're in this magical, mystical place, I'd like you to give yourself a gift. And it could be a gift around your beliefs, your values, or something that you really want or desire right now. Make it a good gift. Make it a really good gift. And now, I'd like you to use that wonderful mind and imagination of yours to imagine a force field surrounding your body, protecting you. And this force field acts like an emotional barrier or boundary protecting you, because you do not give other people's bad behavior or their emotions or your own negative feelings and emotions permission to change the way you feel. You do not give other people's bad behavior or their emotions or your own negative feelings and emotions permission to change the way you feel. And there's an opening in this force field. And it's where you breathe in new learnings, new positives, new opportunities, new potential, new adventures. And it's where you breathe out any negative feelings, images, thoughts, emotions, or sensations that you've been holding on to. It's where you breathe out all the old, negative, psychological rubbish that goes on in your head. And now, I'd like you to run a movie through your head. And this is a movie of you over the coming days, weeks, months, years. Looking the way you want to look, feeling the way you want to feel, and doing all the things that you want to do. You have this gift. You have this force field surrounding you, protecting you, because you do not give other people's bad behavior or their emotions or your own negative feelings and emotions permission to change the way you feel. Make it a good movie. Make it a really good movie. We are the movies we play in our heads. We are the movies we play in our heads. Always play a good movie. Always play a good movie. That's right. And now, in a moment, I will wake you. Now we'll count from 1 to 5. And by the time I get to 5, you will open your eyes and you will feel amazing. In a moment, I will count from 1 to 5. And on 5, you'll open your eyes with a great big smile on your face, looking forward to the rest of this course. In a moment, I will count from 1 to 5. And on 5, you'll open your eyes and you will feel really good for you. You have this gift. You have this force field surrounding you, protecting you, because you do not give other people's bad behavior or their emotions or your own negative feelings and emotions permission to change the way you feel. And you've seen yourself in a movie, looking the way you want to look, feeling the way you want to feel, and doing all the things that you want to do. That's right. And so ready now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes, feeling amazing, feeling really good for you, excited about the rest of this course, this workshop. You have this gift. You have this force field surrounding you, protecting you, because you do not give other people's bad behavior or their emotions or your own negative feelings and emotions permission to change the way you feel. And you've seen yourself in a movie, looking the way you want to look, feeling the way you want to feel, and doing all the things that you want to do. That's right. Are you back here with me in the present?
Yeah.
Right. So one of you needs to say something. One of you needs to talk because it came through me. Did you hear me coughing?
Yes, I did.
Somebody, one of you has something to say to somebody. Could be me, but it could be somebody else. I don't know who it is, but it always affects me when I've got a client who has something on their mind and they need to get off their chest. It comes through me on my throat and I start choking. So who has something to say to somebody? You got to say it. Do you, Deborah?
Well, I do, and I do. You know, it's a funny thing because it's I do want to say something to them, but I don't actually know that it's going to serve any positive purpose, to be honest.
Okay.
So that's the thing, and you know, and it's let's put it this way: it's very similar to what's happened with what's his name, King Charles and Harry. It's very similar what's happening right now with the Beckhams, with their oldest son. So it's the same thing. And you're like, just is, you know, and like I said, it is what it is. I don't think it won't change anything.
Okay. Interesting, isn't it? And Barbara, do you have something you have to say to somebody?
Because
I tell you, you guys, I just went, bloody hell, choking here.
because it's me. I'm a Gemini, you know. So I mean, yeah, I have a lot of things to say to someone, and some of it bubbled up earlier today because, which by the way, I say now exactly like that when I'm talking, and I have it in a sentence. I say because, and then I keep going. It's like, and every time I do it, I'm like, Claudia.
Oh, because I say because.
Anyway, so I have a lot of things to say to this person. Some of them I've already said, and that's okay. Anyway, and so it doesn't serve a purpose right now. However, sometimes I get so overdone with it because you need to know this, you need to understand it, and then I go, really? And so the other person is me, because I've been doing all this work. I had a whole hypnosis session this morning. I mean, you know, I've had 2 this week, and I'm very excited about that. But yeah, I had a whole session this morning. So I have lots of things I've been saying to me. And so a lot of that came up. That was why I thought, well, just go with her, you know? So I thought, all you have to do is close your eyes and you're gone. And it was like, cool. And so I started thinking about the good things, you know, the stuff I need to say to me and what I need to do. And that's much more important than what I need to say to somebody else. What I need to say to me is the most important thing that I need to say.
Yes. And then you give yourself a gift. You have the force field protecting you because you do not give other people's bad behavior or their emotions or your own negative feelings and emotions permission to change the way you feel, right? And you run a good movie through your head. So that then becomes this bit. Do you remember I said becomes the new belief? I then record this for them. I don't normally do the full relaxation necessarily with a child. I might do fingers. I might say, imagine, I don't know, whatever they like playing with, or imagine, so say if they're into, from that sheet of what they've given me, I'll say, so imagine that, you know, that game, or imagine the animal, or imagine, and imagine it, or in hypnosis for kids, little kids, right? Or I might do an eye fixation, or I might do a hand stick, or I might do a hand levitation, and or balloons, or whatever. Depends what I feel like, so what mood I'm in, or what I think will serve them, really, because it's client-centered, right? So I use my intuition on what I'm going to do. You guys probably just really enjoyed that. You know, it's nice as an adult, yeah, to have
But the long step down is nice. It's very relaxing, and I thought, you know, maybe that'll help me. But it's interesting that you said that, because before, when you were talking about gift, I was like, gift. What am I going to give myself? What am I going to? And I was like, forget about it. Just go with it, and, you know, figure it out. So that's the gift. That's the gift. You're saying.
There you go. Yeah, and it's so interesting, because when I ask afterwards, what did somebody give themselves, and then they'll say, and I go, what does that mean to you? And then they say whatever they gave themselves. Oh, it symbolizes freedom, or it symbolizes or whatever it is, you know, peace, or so yeah.
I missed even the intro to the gift. I was like, I don't know where that went. Where did you put that? Where you put that in there? Was that early on in the induction?
Yeah, so after your magical mystical place, while you're in your magical mystical place, but it's in the manual. It's in the manual. I'll do it again tomorrow, because it's nice, because I can. There's not very many of us on here. I'm not having to answer so many questions and checking and stuff. So, you know, we've got more time for other stuff. So, like I say, you know, every time I do this, it'll be different, because it depends on who's on. And there may be more people tomorrow. I don't know. It depends if they're available. But it's
So
like,
I have to work on getting out of my daughter's house. She's having a big party tomorrow, and that's how I got distracted. She needed a favor in the morning, but she's having a huge party tomorrow, and I'm like, I never get out of there very early, and I'm all of a sudden
go to the party. Go to the party.
Oh, I'm going, but it's a joint day.
Yeah, but just join the following, you know, because it's not next week, it's the week after. But it'll be the same code, all right?
Oh.
As long as Zoom is behaving, I'll be all right. And if it doesn't, then I'll just redo another one and send everybody something.
So wait, so you got tomorrow, but then not next Friday?
No, it's the Friday after. Lawrence said he wanted a week off. He said it's too much for the people in Australia, but I mean, there's only Deborah.
Well, that is 3 things going on the week of the 27th. Oh, okay.
Well, just whatever, you know. I mean, as I will record it, but it'll only be. But yeah, actually, I will record it, but and I can send it to you, but I'm not going to send it to anybody else who's not on.
No.
Because it might be private stuff, you know?
Yeah, because I'm supposed to be with Rich Guzzi. I'm assisting in his show.
Oh, nice. Oh, fun. Yeah, you gotta go do that. You gotta go do that. Anyway, Deborah, any questions on any of that?
No, I think it's been great. I just there's some stuff you're doing that I do too, but I just like how you've put it all together. That psychoeducation piece, I think, is gold. So no, I'm just want to go away and absorb it and have a think about it and all of that.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
There's a lot to process.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So fortunately, Deborah does a lot of this anyway, but just different wording.
It is different wording, and there's a couple of pieces that I haven't done. You know, even like the ball, right? Just you saying. I mean, I'm thinking. Oh, I was like, oh, I could get poo and stick it on not real poo, but you know, I'm thinking can I get brown blue tack? I'm thinking to myself, but there's all sorts of stuff that I'm thinking I could adapt it a little bit more. And the thing that I've got going through my mind is I do work with people with schizophrenia, and I'm interested to see how that works with them too.
So I've got a fart machine arriving tomorrow.
Oh, I've got 4 of them, right? The boys love them.
A what machine?
It's called a
Fart machine.
fart machine. I've got and it in the poo emoji. So
Yeah, I've got it. And when I'm doing hypnosis, sometimes I will have the machine at the side. And so I talk about poo farts, the same thing, and I just get them to hit it every time they have one. They're just, and it's really, yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
It's because kids love poo. So it's
poop and farts, and that's what they like to do, right?
Yeah. So yeah, and grown-ups do as well.
They do. It's, you know.
I mean, you know, if we've all got husbands or have had them, I mean, sometimes I go, you're really proud of that, aren't you?
That's right. They never grow out of it, I've decided. Yeah. I agree.
It's hilarious. Anyway, God, that was recorded. Oh shit. I mean,
clip it. You can go to clip it at the end.
Push the stop button.